Left hand on it. Have some of this. All right, I got a jam. That is Isaiah Rashad. That is the vibration these days. I seem to be able to catch it. Well, good evening. Welcome, or good morning. Guten morning. Welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. This is the 13th Estabaz edition because this is my yearly track in the dark back to creating my own light out of the dark. So they tell me I've been around 60 times, and the day's date is 13 Estabaz. And so that's just fitting that it is. So this is my day to enjoy. Oh, and this is a spell I've put out there on Facebook. A lot of people are picking up on it. Instead of saying happy birthday, which is a type of spell, because if you accept happy, you can accept sad. So you just enjoy your day. That's something different. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay. It's 13 bin. Yeah, 13 bin. That's right. So I was like confusing myself. So welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. I am known as the Time Lord. I am also known as the Last Time Walker. And this evening I am the character of Eight Wind is Timeless. So welcome one, welcome all. Tonight we are definitely having alcohol, and it is Vanilla Porter by Breckenridge. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them, and bottoms up. Guess I'm gonna start off like what's on my mind. I've got the most ghetto family. I have the most ghetto family. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Show you how they do me. Ah. All right. So you see that right there? That's like some deliciousness, right? You understand this? This was some really delicious Hy-Vee cake. All right. My birthday is like right now. Do you understand? My birthday is like right now. Let me show you what has happened. Now, my birthday is now, like tomorrow day. Yep, let's see the cake. Look at the cake. Woo! Look at the cake already. My daughter, who did give me the cake, she demanded a piece. So I gave her a piece. Now, you know the young man, City, that usually lives with me. He's with his mother for the last several days. But he came back just to get some cake. I have 3 children in Michigan, one 31, one 23, and they brought my 15-year-old daughter here. It wasn't, how you doing, Dad? It was, give me some cake. So I think they just drove 800 miles just to eat my cake. My 20-year-old son and my 26-year-old son, they brought their mama with them, and they all eating my cake. So by the time tomorrow comes, or daytime tomorrow, the cake is almost gone. This is how ghetto and how they do me. Nobody brought gifts but my young daughter. Well, my son did bring some beer, but not enough. Oh, so they ate all the cake up. And the buttercream is like perfect. It's more of a, almost a fudge kind of frosting. And the buttercream, buttercream is like too much. Kind of perfect. Kind of perfect. So that's how they do me. Well, thank you, PJ. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm blabbing. Who all is sitting here watching the old man? Oh my goodness. Derek, what's happening? Greg, what is going on? Perspective Gaming, Kyru put a root on him. Evening, my dude, the one. They definitely Aggie Pride. Oh, thank you, Greg. Anise, thank you for joining me. Hey, PJ. Hey, Valerie, what's happening? I think Derek, I said, what's happening? Oh, so yeah, they demolished it already. They ate it. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. And then they're telling me that this is the thing. Then they're telling me why they can't stop by tomorrow. So they don't stop by the last few days to eat my cake. And then they're talking about why they can't stop by tomorrow. Now already my 15-year-old daughter, they done took her with them. They went on another little mini vacation. She wanted it with my 15-year-old, and my other daughter. They had some shit planned where they done left. So they doing some shit. My daughter just got back from vacation. So my one daughter comes from Michigan to take off with my other daughter. She stayed around just long enough to eat some cake. She did give me a Petoskey stone. It's around here somewhere. Hey, homie, thank you for joining me. Thank you very much. That is kind of you to say. So that's what's been going on today. Wow. Gosh. Man. Chick hit me with some stuff today I didn't even hear about today. Let me see if I can find their name. I want to pass this stuff on. Y'all can go listen to these people. It's like I don't know if people listen to the scientists, the real motherfuckers, not these paid off people. Let's do all that too. Not these paid off people, but the real people that break down how all this is done. It's interesting and it's worth the study. I mean, the true study and not the propaganda. If you get the true study of some of this stuff, and I know the people that are editing me are listening, so I'm only gonna say so much. But it's if you listen to the real people how they say this stuff and how this is, it's easy to see the agenda. Because it's already more fear programs coming out. So don't go for the fear programs. Because there's a lot of them, and that's all it is. It is that's all it is fear programs. And so that's all you gotta. That's how you got to look at it. Oh my goodness. All right. That's not right. I can't make this shit out for the damn. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. But let me see if I can find these beautiful souls that want to give it up. And let's see. Okay, let me see if I can find their names. But basically, what I learned is, as far as eugenics goes, that there was a Supreme Court. Oh, well, let me back up. So if you look at what they really did, see, when they first started bringing Europeans over for slaves, and again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but just telling a little bit of history. When they first started bringing a lot of them over for slaves, again, this was a bigger penal colony. I mean, more prisoners were brought here than Australia. See, this was spend time in their jail or come over here. So they sent a lot of criminals to America. So they went into, again, not mixing with them. You watch the movies where they say, the blood, they can't mix the blood with these people. Gone with the Wind and all these. You've got to be of somebody. You wasn't just marrying in. That's why they had the thing saying marrying up, if you remember. He's married up. But so they really didn't want to mix with these people. But what they found, let me see if I can find it in here. Oh, okay. Maybe this is it. Yeah. So let me go further. So they were sterilizing a lot of these people. They was calling them lazy lumbers. Like that's why 400 Years of Class Distinction, or Poor White Trash, that book is so important. She breaks it down. But what they found out is they needed people to fight their wars. And so that's where the imbecile psychopath comes in. And so they tell you these people wasn't as learned. They tell you that these people really couldn't be much. But what they found is they could fight their wars. They found out they could fight their wars. So that's why the rise of the hillbilly. But these ladies here, her name is called Wildcraft Wellness. She just did an episode 65. Now, I mean, she got more subscribers than I do, but just starting. I mean, I don't know if they recorded this because they really wasn't responding during the live chat. That many people, there was just me. However, you want this information about eugenics and stuff. And that gets me into talking about Jerry Epstein. And if you understand who Jerry Epstein was and why you see in Bill Gates pictures have always showed up with Jerry Epstein. Well, if you get the man who owned the Gap, I think he originally owned the Gap, or Limited. He might have owned the Limited, but I think he owned the Gap too. And the Gap is Old Navy. But I think the Limited is one of the, I think he also owned Victoria's Secret. That dude. That's how Jerry Epstein got his start. And what that dude pretty much did is sold his soul, kind of. Him and Jerry Epstein did it, sell his soul. But what he promised Epstein was, if Epstein made him popular, Epstein got him a nice looking chick, if Epstein put him out there in society, he would make Epstein rich. But that is the same thing that Bill Gates needed. Bill Gates needed to be in them parties because they ain't know them people. Somebody got to bring you in. Like when Donald Trump met the dude from the Limited, Donald Trump said, "How did you get so fucking rich?" Like Trump knew he wasn't really out of families. So that's another part of maybe people didn't consider about Jerry Epstein, is that he was finding lames. He was finding these rich lames that couldn't get chicks, couldn't be popular. No matter how much money they had, they couldn't be famous. Do you understand that? They couldn't be famous. It wasn't in them. So they needed a dude like him that could put them in them parties. So these children have a one-track mind sometimes. You try to give them as much as you can offer and the bare minimum in return. Yeah. But remember why you give to, Yeah, they lazy. I got children. They lazy. Oh, let me see. Did I miss part of the conversation? Yeah, they do. I agree, Valerie. They have a one-track mind. Hey, Laquan, what's happening? Thank you for joining. Hey, Crazy Sire, thank you for joining. Les Wexton, he got a mansion in Ohio. Yeah, exactly. Les Wexton. That's who it was, Les Wexham. I think he owned the Limited. I think the Limited was one, but I want to say the Gap too, Baby Gap. But I know he also at one time owned Victoria's Secret too. Yep. Can't sell their soul. They have spirits, not souls. Only the gods and goddesses have souls. But what makes us? That's what. Okay. That's very well said. So this is how it's done. They get these lames to make these lames famous. These people that's awkward. So that is why a lot of these people turn to it. And I hate to go back and forth, but these young ladies said something that I never really, I never thought about. But when they were like, one of the ladies used to be into an environmentalist, like, the green tip. But she said something that I never thought about. The biggest polluter in the world is the U.S. Army, the military. The U.S. military, with their bases all over the world, with all these ships, with all these planes. I mean, you ever been to Fort Bragg? You ever seen a city that's just a military base? Fort Bragg is basically a city. Now, I wonder if Nick Taylor had went to, I don't think Nick joined the service till 83. So Nick didn't go down to he didn't go down there until 83 probably. But I went down there to Fort Bragg in 79 and 80. And it had like a little area, I think it was called Korean Town, where almost anything went. but just the size of this place is a city in itself. If you've been on a big college, I would dare say, yeah, like you've been to Ohio State, you've been to Michigan State, you've been to University of Michigan, you've been to big campuses. This is just massive campus for days. This is a massive land for days. Uh, oh, you was at Fort Bragg, Greg? Yeah, yeah. It's in North Carolina. It's in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I knew some people that had they called it a 5-bedroom cottage. This was a 2-story big ass like small mansion on the on the uh, on the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean in Jacksonville, Yeah, where me and the brother demolished about 200 crabs one night. They had ate all the shrimp that they caught. So it's like, but we got a lot of crabs, so we killed them. Hey, I'm cool. Thank you for joining me, 208. What's popping? Thank you for joining me. Um, and another thing that these young ladies brought up. In the 1920s, the Supreme Court voted in favor of eugenics. And again, what they were doing to a lot of, like, if a woman got raped, they put her in a crazy house and start doping her up, saying there was something wrong with her. It's like some of these other countries, you rape the chick, you got to marry her. But some countries, they punish the woman that's been violated. And that's what they did here. They put you in a crazy house, especially if it was an important person and they denying, that they raped you. So they would put you in the crazy house. They wouldn't put them in jail, but they would put you in the crazy house. And then they would sterilize you. And so in the 1920s, the Supreme Court voted in favor of eugenics, and it really wasn't changed to the 80s. If you was put in a group home, they wanted to sterilize you. And if anybody knows who Hattie Mae, Hattie Mae from Jacksonville, civil rights chick, she was sterilized. Hattie Mae Hatter, maybe that was her name. Somebody can help me with that. But she was sterilized as a young woman. Now, I don't know if she had children already, but she was sterilized. And she tells you how they forced her pretty much to get sterilized. So eugenics is real. I've told before, here, the conservatives was picketed out in front of the main parental control, the parenthood place where you get the condoms, but you could go have those things done too, Planned Parenthood. And I've said before, on the main road here, there's one and pickets and everything. But near where I lived, there was one next to a school. And I've said this many times. There was a Planned Parenthood across the street from a school. So if you understand. So this one was hidden. This wasn't like that other one was all out and open. This one was across the street from a school. It was on the corner. If you didn't know what you was looking for and you didn't look in the window, and it was a small sign that said Planned Parenthood. And that's how dirty they do. And nobody was picketing at that one. Nobody was paying attention to that one. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's like even today, one thing you look at is you look at why is the light coming? You look at most young people. Most young people now, they don't want to have children until they get older. And so when you wait sometime, and I'll say this, I know a lot of people my age, same thing, career thing, and then they turn, when it's time, one reason or another, you couldn't carry children. So something to think about. It's something that they definitely, all this food and all this stuff is to affect that. So children are never a mistake. Reese, peace. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much for joining me. And I want to say, Barbara Grady, if you watch, I sent your brick off. So you're about to get that thing. You probably get it tomorrow. Yeah, I sent it Monday. So they said 2 days. So It's like, look, you can pay this, and it'll come like in a week. They said you pay this, it'll come in about 2 days. So tomorrow, Thursday, I'm thinking more tomorrow. So don't if you wherever you watching this. I'm 37 and don't want kids till I am 45. That's funny. Now let me tell you how kind of high I am. My mother's 20 years older than me. And when I was in college, I had a teammate. He was maybe a year older than me. So I was still a Muslim, so I had to be a freshman. So I was 18. Yeah, my whole freshman year I was 18. I was fresh 18. He was 19. I don't think he was even 20. He was only a year older than me. And we were sitting there talking, and I was like, I don't know how I came up, but he's like, yeah, my daddy's 70. He said his daddy was 70 when we was 20. And I was like, whoa, my mother only 40. But now, looking at my youngest daughter be about 10. I'm 50 years older than her. My point is, like, I'm an older parent. I think my first son about to be 32. So what was I, 28, 29, somewhere in there? His mother was 26, 27. Considering, whereas my second wife was 20. She had my oldest at 20, or my oldest with her at 20. And then my other daughter's mother, my daughter's 15, so her mother was in her 30s. And then my youngest daughter, her mother was in her 30s. So in some ways, they're kind of older parents too. But you know what? I'll say this though. I'll say this in your favor. I'll say this. She had a lady on there, and the lady said that she got herself sterilized because she had made the decision she didn't want to have children. And that's okay too. And I wanted to say this to you too. It's like no matter what this system can put in us, we are strong enough to beat it. So anyone that has to take that step for whatever reason you take it, you can beat it. It doesn't have to be what they say it can be. So consider that too. It's like you can make it like I take this concentric once a month. It does what I needed to do. And because I don't have any fear, that's all it can do to me. So yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with not having children. I'm saying for the young people that's considering this, everything that's going on today, you have to consider maybe sooner than later. That's all I'm saying for young people. My dad was 42 when I was born. My mom was 20. Okay. That's, I think, no, I think I was, when Brennan was born, she was 20, and I think I was there. I was about 34, 35, I think. I was like 34, 35. Do you think the Suns will beat the Clippers in Game 6 just like they did the Lakers? I don't think so. I think it's playing out like I said it was going to play out. Now, Giannis' knee, I don't know if that was what did they do? That looked pretty nasty. He had a pretty nasty sprain. And remember this with Trey, when they say a bone bruise, that could be a break. You can have a bruise that's just bad as a break. It just didn't snap the bone. But if it's enough to bruise the bone, that's another name for a break. So he might be out a little longer. Giannis definitely twisted it pretty ugly, though. It was a pretty ugly twist. I still say the money is what you've got to follow. It just now, I think there was agenda letting LeBron rest too. The season's changed. He had all this to do with Space Jam coming out in a few weeks. So I think all that played a part why they really needed to rest. So it just, this is what I'll say, and I'll balance it a little bit. LA, if they put the Clippers in there, it don't matter who else make it. If they put the Clippers in there, it don't matter who else make it because LA will be represented. And that's going to bring people in. But most people would prefer Atlanta and the Clippers, and I'm sure the LA too. I'm pretty sure they will. It'll be the higher ratings. So maybe that's like Giannis did sprain his knee. It looked pretty bad. I mean, it was obvious sprain, so it looked pretty bad. Is Chris Paul gonna get a ring? I don't think so. I just don't think so. I mean, again, like PJ was saying, they ain't never let him. He's blown 3-1 leads before, so it's not new for him to blow a 3-1 lead. His thing for losing is getting the commercials. He loses, he gets the commercials, because most people get for commercials for winning, not Chris Paul. Chris Paul has gotten commercials for not winning, and they don't usually go like that. What happened to RG3 as soon as he quit playing? Commercials quit. And remember, RG3 for a minute, he was on everything. You notice young people today don't have the conscience to find outlets or hobbies and escape from the daily issues like we did when we was young. You know what, homie? The escape is the machine. The escape is these. That's the escape. You know, that's the escape, is to be tied to a machine. Yeah, exactly. They ain't never let two brothers. No, that's right. That's right. You hit the nail on the head. There you go. Yep. When was the last time the Clippers won an NBA championship? They never have. The Clippers never have. They've never won a championship. I don't think even the Padres, did they win a championship would they win a World Series with Tony Gwynn? Chargers ain't never won. Chargers lost Super Bowls. Remember when the Chargers had Tomlinson at his peak, Junior Seau, and they still lost to the Patriots, a lower seed? Remember how they didn't let them get embarrassed like that? So he tore it or PCL. Just watch the doctors talk about it. It looked like he, King Juan. It looked like it. I mean, that knee, I've had my knee buckled like that, and that's just depends. Just depends. It really depends on how he landed, but the way he reacted like something was pretty intense. What was interesting though, because you tear your knee up like that, you can still pretty much walk some of the time. I mean, you limping, but you can walk. And for a minute, and they kept the camera on him, and that made me think it was shaky. Because you notice how long they kept the camera on him? Most people in pain like that. That'd be like, look, when Hayward had a compound fracture and they followed him in. But when I saw that, and like PJ and I was talking about, had a lot of injuries ever happened before. It was either 88, I want to say it was 88 instead of 89, when the Pistons finally beat the Lakers. No, the Lakers won back-to-back 88-89, so this was probably 89-90 Pistons. Lakers made it back to the finals again. And Byron Scott got hurt in the playoffs. And Magic all of a sudden got a hamstring. And I mean, in the middle of the game. And, you know, he's doing the Magic. Damn, I'm hurt. I mean, when you hurt, you just hurt. You don't act. You just think about being hurt. Magic was doing a lot of acting. And Worthy and Cooper couldn't beat the bad boys. 2A says, hey, Tiger Strong, what's happening? My escape is video games. Yes, I won't lie, but I also make beats in my free time. Yeah, music is cool. Hey, James, thank you. Yeah, I said I was going to come on Wednesday morning. No, Lakers won 87, 88. Pistons won 89. Yeah. So it would have been 89, 99. Yeah, 88, 90. Wait. It would have been, so it would have been, yeah, okay. So it would have been 88, 89. So, yeah, I think it would have been 88, 89 going in. Yeah, because the Lakers would have been 86, 87, 87, 88. Yeah, 88, 89. So Lakers actually made it 3 times straight. And because Worthy couldn't carry it. Worthy and Cooper couldn't carry it, and the bad boys beat them. I think the game's going to be close tomorrow. You know, in that game the other night, it was a 6.5 point spread. I wonder if the spread is out now. I found the TV Guide app again. Changed phones. Let me see. What's the point spread on the Clippers-Suns game tomorrow? Oh, today. Actually, it's today. No, this ain't right. Whoops. What is the point spread today for the Clippers and Suns? Here we go. Oh, it looks like another 1 point. Minus 104 to win. Over and under is 215. Still, yeah, they're only giving them a point. That's odds. 215 over and under, 1 point Phoenix. We know, it doesn't look like any game anybody's going to cover. That's what I noticed about the other night. Nobody's covering. So they only giving the Sun the point. So far, no one's covered, I don't believe. And Zubac's out again. Kawhi's out again. It says the Clippers have a winning record against the spread when favored by one or more. Clippers, look at this. Los Angeles is 500 against the spread this season, 51-31. Los Angeles opponents have outscored the over and under 47%. So that's the give. It says Phoenix has routinely covered the spread. When they play at least a 1 point underdog, the Suns frequently meet expectations. Have often hit this over the head. So it's one with Phoenix. And so far, ain't nobody been covering. So, hey, Jay. Okay. Hey, Overstand Mocha. Thank you for the kind words. So, just some things to consider. A little bit about the family. So, like, let me get this right. Owabi, I'd say Obaweji, but that's not Oweji, I think is how you pronounce it. But anyway, their tribe came out of New York. And so my family actually comes out of the Boston area, Wanapakans or Wanapanas or something like that. And what you have to understand, and something that people don't really understand about history, and Turtle Gang really touched on this, and I've talked about this before, and I want to emphasize this is the people that lived on the coast was always world travelers. I know a lot of people would get on Turtle Gang talking about your people came in to, because the Lenape is Delaware. They in the Delaware area. The Delawares also had their own area too. That was their own tribe. But what people don't understand is my tribe went all up and down the coast. We know that the Oman went all up through the Mississippi Valley, all up and down the coast. So everyone traveled all up and down the coast, up to Greenland, up to Iceland, all the way over, all the way back. The families would go from North Carolina to the mounds in Ohio. I mean, this is a common thing. It wasn't just these people never traveled, but some of the Sioux people had already headed west. And then my brother always has a saying is, when the people from South Carolina was finally pushed out to go west to see the other Sioux, they act like they didn't know them. Because some Sioux stayed in South Carolina. And so to understand history, you have to understand that these people, I mean, you can't tell me people that can be whalers is just staying in the little area. They out catching whales back then. These people were whalers. Oh, Derek said, even Serena. Yeah, I saw that she went out. So, well, homie. Hey, Jack, what's happening? Delaware is the tax haven, but not just Delaware. It's Delaware because Delaware is the other place where you have protected assets, asset protection. Delaware, Wyoming, and Nevada. Nevada is the only one where you can get the bonds. I can't think of the name. It's a type of a bond that you can have an asset protected account. Like OJ's pension is protected against the Goodman family. They could never take his pension money. It's asset protected. They took all that other shit in his house, but they couldn't take his $250,000 a year because it's asset protected. But the most millionaires, I think, live in Delaware because of that. but you can have it's bearer bonds. That's the word I was looking for. Nevada, you can hold bearer bonds. The movie, I want to say the movie Heat. Remember in the beginning of the movie Heat, they rob a armored car, and they ain't looking for cash. They looking for bearer bonds because they can't really be tracked. Because most of the time, the person, like a lot of times when I used to be in the asset protection business, it'd be doctors and lawyers hiding their stuff from wives and family, where they would get a mother or a relative to bear bonds. And legally, when you had to expose your assets, if you don't hold the bearer bonds, you don't hold the asset. So the Omen left mounds in Arkansas centuries ago. They were called the Toltecs when they did that. Separate people. They were separate people. Toltecs, Zotecs, Zapatas, Tech. They're separate people. Ganas received karma for Kyrie. That's a good point. Dunamis, thank you. New Mexico is tax-free and companies can hide ownership from public view. Okay. And it's like the money can't really be hidden in Sweden anymore because of the Nazis. The Nazis hid it for 50, 60 years, and you can go up in that stuff. But at one time, you could have, the shell corporations. It was Jamaica. It switched from Puerto Rico. It switched to Jamaica. And at one time, you could tie up some money and people wouldn't know it. Zachary, what's happening? Tyrone Lue gave Cleveland his first chip in 50 years as a first-time head coach. He can give the Clippers his first chip in 50 years as one-time coach. Y'all hear that? Tyrone Lue gave Cleveland his first chip in 50 years as a first-time head coach. He can give the Clippers that. It was more than that. It was wasn't the Cavaliers that won the chip 50 years before. It was Jim Brown. Jim Brown had won 50 years before. It was the Cleveland Browns. And actually, not really the Cleveland Browns, because the team that was the Cleveland Browns play in Baltimore now. But that's a good breakdown. Thank you for giving that. Yeah, bear bonds. Yeah, bear bonds. Exactly. Heat was the movie. Clippers ain't going. That's what Tiger Strong say. I don't know. Looking good for him. And it just makes the most sense. It makes the most money sense. So we'll see. Chris Paul's the main character in these playoffs. Oh, no doubt about that. Then the Toltecs will be the result of Asian people mixing with the native Omen. No, like, if you really understand where the Toltec were in northern. Now could the Zapotec too? Could all those? Because like I don't know if I have 8 Wins book here. I don't think I do. But like 8 Win in them tribe, they up in northern Mexico. See, if you look at where Tutankhamun was, kind of mid-Mexico, even like mid-North Mexico. But the Toltecs was in the Toltecs, the Potecs, they was in the northern, like the foothills of Mexico, but in the northern foothills of Mexico. That's where they would have been. Now, the same practices of bonding their heads that the Omen did. And I don't think the Asians was really binding their heads. So now I would agree. Could it have been one of the tribe that moved up in that area? That's possible too. More than like what the Aztec did. The Aztec came out of the Americas and went down in there and was mercenaries. Aztec didn't have a very long rule, and that's why people didn't like them. And so it could have been a part of the tribe because it's the same spiritual system, the same counting system. All that was the same. And the same counting system is very important. That's one thing that all of Mexico did. All of South America basically had the same counting system. Not necessarily the same language, but an offshoot of language, but definitely the same spiritual system. Because what you see the Aztec do is what the Romans did. The Romans just copied the Greeks' religion and gave them their own names. And that's the same thing the Aztecs did. The Aztecs just assimilated and put their own spin on it. But they actually basically accepted the same. You said the You said the Suns and the Hawks? I don't know about that. I think Clippers and Hawks, Zachary. I do. I think Clippers and Hawks. That makes the most financial sense. Man, now maybe they won't do it. What's your thoughts on all the injuries? Our players are overworked or narrative being pushed and players going along? Like Kyrie's injury looked nasty. Like I'm an empath and I can't. I didn't really know I was an empath all those years and could look at all these damn injuries and be like, whoa, I could never look. It's like I could feel these injuries. So that one, it's hard to say. What did we see? What did we see in the college? We saw a dude. We saw a dude almost do the splits. We saw a dude really this is what it was. It was in the NCAA. We saw a dude do the splits where it looked like he tore his knee up. And that dude came back out and played. Do y'all remember that? Dude jammed his knee all up, damn near did the splits, and then he came back. And he had one of the worst looking kind of injuries. And so, like, what did they do for him? Did he get one of those Matt Damon machines on the moon and all of a sudden they just cured him in halftime? Y'all remember that? That dude, it looked like he tore his knee up and he came right back out. So, storylines, yeah, but I understand storylines, but they lost a lot of money last year. They lost a lot of money and they're trying to make the money back. Oh, you're already seeing that they're already okaying football season to have full capacity. Y'all see that? Indiana was the first state to pass that. But we already know Texas and Florida are already going to have full fans. They got full fans already. So how much should I play on the slot machine? It's what you can afford, brother. It's what you can afford. The thing about that is it's a repetition to it. The old ones, I thought it was a little more filling than the new ones, but I don't know. I mean, this is the way it's set up. It's set up for the house to win, but they got to let people win. And so that's the timing. Is like the timing is they have to let people win sooner or later. And that's the kind of wave you want to catch is when it's your turn to win. Is you want to catch the wave when the machines have to give something out. It's almost like allocated how much they're going to pay out. That is how to the penny it goes, how much they got to pay out. I was looking at something interesting, and I've talked about this before. You know, the tribe I live near, the Shakopee, they're pretty much Dakotas, I want to say. It's something else, Menipee, Dakota, or something like that. They are the richest reservation in the world. It's barely 500 of them. It was funny what they were saying. I know inside what most of them people make. We got a friend. She's a little older than me. She's probably 64, 65 now. She makes about 100,000 a month, almost a little more. She makes about 150,000. That's about the average out there. About the average, everybody make about 1.2 to 1.5 a year. I found out there's a casino that was mismanaged so bad, and this casino is part of some movie where they was skimming through the casino. But this casino ended up doing bad business where they was these people went from getting like 5 to 15,000 a month to getting nothing because the casino did such bad work that they end up owing 1.5 billion. And they tricked these people, and everything they made had to go to pay their bankruptcy. See how they trick you? Like they tried to get on the people out here, trying to say that all them is tied into. That's what Donald Trump thing was trying to say, that the gangsters, that the Italians was moving in with the natives. And I think that tribe kind of got caught up into that a little bit. So some of them do good and some of them ain't doing good. These people went from not needing jobs to having to go back and get jobs. Then people live near me, they ain't getting jobs. Curses are hexes, real. Hey, Mark, thank you for joining me. Oh, of course they are. Of course they are. Guinness tore his knee up, but it wasn't part of the script. I don't think it was either. It was really they like I thought when Middleton caught that one player and the way he was bending his arm, I thought he was kind of trying to hurt his arm. Somebody else said he was showing some humanity. I ain't think so. I think he was trying to do that Kevin Love treatment and get that arm. Even though he had an arm around the hip, he had that arm in a position where he was kind of yanking on it. So I thought that was kind of shaky. Oh, you just got into roulette? I love real roulette wheels. I got a mini one. Like I said, I got these dice. I got some Vegas dice. Shooting my son, taking dollars from him. And I got these Vegas dice. I brought my daughter back. These shoot. And these the right weight. And I got a roulette wheel. Got a small one in a closet, one of my storages. So, yeah, real roulette, not the shit on the computer. I told you I was sitting. My ex, the last time I went to the casino. Well, I've dropped my son out because he's trying to work out there, and I go out there and get sage. Oh, and you can get sage at Marshall's. It's cheaper. You can get 3 sticks for $8. The reservation charge 1 for $6. So, but I go out there all the time. The gas cheaper sometimes out there. And again, a couple of little things I get out there. But as far as going in the casino, that ain't really my thing. Again, I like shooting craps. I don't like the electronics. But they had a electronics thing, and chick was I watched this chick feed it with $500. No feeling, Craps, real craps, and real roulette is a feeling thing. That's why all these series going so long. Probably the owners that needed money or silver, like the longest series, Eastern Conference. Yeah, because you have to, like the NFL commissioner said, all of them was saying they was going to take less. They got to take less. That they get paid by games, and they get paid by fans. They don't get paid by salaries. I mean, you see what I'm saying? They get paid by when the profits come. That's how Goodell gets paid and Silver gets paid. They might have put a hex on Giannis. Yeah, but he probably got some voodoo in his family. They would know how to do the anti-hex. But what he did to Kyrie was dirty. That was that dirty European ball. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining. No, they are Tiger Strong. Yeah, you just got to know the anti-hexes. Whoa, where did I go? Hey, Lorenzo, thank you for joining me. Joe, what's funny is Joe Theismann, but I just wonder how they faked to make way it looked, because you can see pictures of Joe Theismann's compound fracture and Alex Smith. How he ever play football again? That was scripted. There was they told the truth. The coach that came from the Panthers used to play used to play for the Bears. What Riviere? What did he say? They were scared when he was out there. You see his leg? It ain't much left of his leg. And I got him out there. There's no way he was going to get hurt again. That showed you a script. Where's my thing? Oh, here it is. It was no way he was going to get hurt again. So, Overstand Mocha, a month. A month of what? What did I miss, Overstand Mocha? Can't catch up. Hey, when everybody, Lorenzo, this could. So I don't know about thighs, man. I blow big stacks. There you go. Derek, I do. OG, how many languages? I only speak English and old man. I never, we was like, when I was in junior high, I took French. I took French one semester and took Spanish one semester. So they was pushing French and German. When I was in second grade, everybody spoke German. So I knew a little bit of German just because everybody spoke it. I mean, all the Europeans I was around, like they didn't call couches, they called them Davenports. Do y'all know the difference? Does anybody know the difference between a couch and a Davenport? Let's see what everybody, I bet people don't know the difference between a couch and a Davenport. What's the difference? You saying Joe's was pre-planned? Maybe. That just looked nasty. It looked nasty. Could have been. They didn't like Joe. They didn't like Joe. And the dope head hurting. Dude from North Carolina hurting. So yeah, they didn't like Joe. Like Joe, before playing the Raiders, Joe was the last one out on the field giving interviews. And what did he do? He threw a pick six in the beginning of the game. Yeah, no, of course, yeah, definitely a real injury. Alex Smith could have lost his life. Yeah, that Tony Bridgewater was the same way. Tony Bridgewater was the same way. He almost died. The Chicago Bear tight end had the same thing. Tore that artery. Like when Tony Bridgewater slipped, he tore that main carotid artery in his leg. Yeah, almost killed him. Almost killed him. Don't forget about Ebonics. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's like when Kevin Ware for Louisville broke his leg. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor, LT. I met LT. LT's a trip because he was LT was, I think, a senior when I was a freshman. So he was down in Carolina. Davenports don't have a back. I think that's turned around. Davenports are higher, has the higher back. Davenports had a higher back. Couches had a lower back. So Davenport would come up to here in the back. That's that style. Most couches, like my couch right there, comes about right here. Davenport has the high back, but that's a German thing. At least that's what I learned from the Germans. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater. The NBA season could be cursed. It could be. What you think about the condos collapsing? I mean, okay, let's go back. Look what they did at Oklahoma. They blew up a daycare. You really think that Tim and McVeigh, I know Nichols had nothing to do with it, but you think Timothy McVeigh was so bitter that he just blew it up knowing a daycare was in there and no one else helped him, and he did it with some freaking fertilizer? These are the same people. So they don't care about working taxpayers. So somebody took it down. And remember how Miami was built. Because I went down to Miami, and my best friend grew up with, well, one of my best friends. I got a lot of best friends, but one of my best friends from Miami. So we started going down there. At least I did. I started going down there since 80. And I remember how it used to look. All that's dope money that built all that downtown area. Dope money built Miami. There's no way to get around that. So if any curse, that could be a curse. But they'll kill our people to make our people panicked. They will sacrifice people. And that's the history of America. They'll sacrifice people. They got more of this SPEAR program going around. Put everybody up again. Put you on the shelf again. So it's hard. It's hard to say. But yeah, that's the difference between, at least that's what the Germans told me. And you can't even, I think you have to order Davenports. Most places just sell couches. But it has the weird kind of like side that comes out, and they're just higher. So most of the time you just get couches now. Alex Smith injury was scripted with Joe Theismann injury. I wonder how they do these things. Yeah, so to find it, to have it almost the day to the minute to the yard line, I mean, that takes a lot of scripting. So, but not impossible. And again, him having that, Hayward having that, George had it. George, what was you guys saying? I think PJ said George hit the, I didn't realize he hit the support. And that busted his leg open. But I said before, I watched the dude just shoot a layup. No contact, completely by himself. And my friend Bernard's running over there, putting pressure on it. Like, man, if you don't get your goofy ass away from here. Quantum physics. What about quantum? Yeah. Get down to quantum. It's truly some insane witchcraft going on in these these sports. Oh, who do you think? These damn wizards control it all. Uh, I saw that Bears Titans injury live, and they still didn't call that a TD either. There you go. It's like what they did to what is his name? From Georgia Tech that's going into the Hall of Fame, Johnson. When he caught the ball for the Bears, he caught it up here, and right before he fell, he just put the ball down. He caught the ball, he controlled the ball, and then he put the ball on the field. And they called it. They called his touchdown back. That's point shaving. That is point shaving. Like that video I made. We got two instances where professional referees let a dude jump up in the air, come down, and then jump in the air again, and no call. No call. And a basket counted. How is that? How is that possible? Who allows that? Oh, yeah, Scotty kind of going off. You think the MIB rigged too? MIB? What's Jack? What's MIB? Major. What is MIB? I don't know what MIB is. You think is Scotty Pippen? Well, I think Scotty just was stung for Michael not supporting him. And Michael never won it without Scotty. Say what anybody says. There's no way he wins without Scotty. Scotty could almost go down being the most effective defensive player ever. I'm not saying the best, but most effective. He was one of the best help defenders probably ever. He could D you, help defend, and if you skip the ball back, Scotty would be right there on his man, where his man wouldn't get a step on him. So, Megatron, yeah. Jay said he was glad it wasn't a touchdown. A lot of people lost money today betting. Yeah. They say McVay got caught for driving without his license after, they linked him. Yeah, exactly. That's sloppy. Who's going to be that sloppy? Baseball. Jeremy, you saying baseball? Yeah. Of course it's scripted. Why you think they went through the thing of the Astros saying just the Astros was cheating? Now they going after things saying that pitchers is cheating. It's no way to get moisture, or it's no way that we human. We got oils in our hands. We got oils in our hands. Even if you ain't got lotion, your hands are naturally oily. So how are you saying these dudes that can wear batting gloves, they can have hitting tar? You notice each hitter between pitches, he readjusts his gloves. That's legal. His gloves get loose, he can make them tight again. And you telling me this man can't have a little to grip the ball? And now you want to suspend? It is a distraction. These all sports are fixed. Look at Ken Burns' thing. Baseball was started. You let me win, both mine at home, or we'll split one. Then we go to your place and we'll split one. Watch Ken Burns. That's what they tell you. The players control baseball. And then the owners, the people who wanted to own, came in and said, hey, these dudes been cheating. And then they blamed on one person and put him out. And then you know what? The owners took over. They took the game away from the players. Football was pretty much the same way. It was the players' game. The players owned the teams. Players would get together. Curly LeBeau was working for the Packer company. Curly LeBeau went to Notre Dame. He was working for the Acme Packer company. And that's what I was trying to tell people. When you used to work places, and now most businesses might have a softball team. Most businesses, again, if you remember the Goodrich commercials a while ago, that was a pro league, semi-pro league. Almost all these businesses, a lot had semi-pro football teams that they sponsored. A lot of them, even in my generation, still has semi-pro basketball teams, and almost everybody had semi-pro baseball. So Guinness will never win a ring. This is his best chance, but he injured. ATL versus Phoenix, State Farm Arena, ATL, and LA. That's what I think, Kane. I do. My biggest takeaway from the last dance was how good, important Scotty actually was. I mean, watching him, probably, as I said, the best help defender probably ever that could help defend in a meaningful way, but yet get there back on his man, and his man not have a step on him. But it showed a lot of Michael ego. Michael lying, talking about he didn't get mad at Isaiah, and he ain't had nothing to do with it when he already knew. And this is how old dudes would just lie to the beginning, lie to the end. When they knew Jerry Calaglio taped Michael, Michael said he wouldn't play if Isaiah was on the team. But Isaiah was an asshole. But Isaiah was from Chicago, writing checks when he would lose big. So was Jordan. Isaiah had to testify against some gamblers. Wrote a check for 200 and some thousand. Him and Jordan both suckers. And Isaiah grew up in Chicago. See, these mugs think they gangster and can go gamble with these gangsters. That's why when we throw dice, we stick them. I mean, you just catch them and throw them. Ain't no doing this. You right looking at me. Ain't no picking them up. All you can do is catch and throw. That's it. Because it's too easy to cheat. It is too easy to cheat. Cheating allegations used to reaffirm the public belief in sports being real. There you go. I mean, look at what they did to the 50s, to all the New York players. And then in the 60s, what they did to Connie Hawkins and Roger Brown and Doug Moe. Because they ain't want all of them to go to the Knicks. So they threw them into cheating so the Celtics would be good and held them brothers back. Dumb. Checking them pictures, as hot as it is out there, their hands are exactly. And they already can give them talcum powder. So, yeah, it's tripping. They're going to let Giannis go out with an injury. Should have let Brooklyn. State Farm Arena is a big clue. You just gave me a moment. There you go. It was numerology ritual in Atlanta is heavily connected. Yeah, it is. Something that never discussed, who were the best role players and number 2 on a team that played in the NBA. The number 2, we just said one of them. One of them would have been Scotty. I'll tell you the other one you got to consider for a number 2 is Jerry West. You got to consider Jerry West because Jerry West played with Elgin Baylor. And when Elgin played, Elgin was number 1. So you got to give credit to Jerry West being number 2. Because Jerry West didn't take over number 1 until Elgin started getting hurt, and Elgin was a few years older than Jerry West. Elgin went in the league in '56, I say, and Jerry West didn't go in. Jerry West and Oscar Robertson played in the Olympics together, so 60 or 61. So, yeah, because when Jerry West never played in Minnesota, Elgin Baylor did. He got drafted by the Minneapolis Lakers. But Scotty, tell you another one. Who would you put number 2? I'm gonna tell you another number 2, especially when they won the chip, was Moses Malone. I want to say the year they won, wasn't Moses Malone? Didn't Moses Malone win the MVP? The year him and Dr. J won it? Wasn't Moses the MVP of the league? I'd have to look that one up. But I would say Moses was number 2, and Dr. J was the number 1, and Moses couldn't be stopped back then, 83. Moses Malone, he said to Dr. J, my favorite number, the number's 454. Y'all remember that? 454. Pieces of a Dream, 454. See, I could be Hawks versus Suns. Hawks been wearing those MLK. Arizona's the last state to make MLK a national holiday. That's a good one, Lorenzo. That's a good decode. As long as the dice ain't loaded, shake them, shake them, shake them. No, you cannot shake the dice. No, I don't play that way. We stick them. Can't shake them. Can't do nothing but catch them and throw them. Catch them and throw them. We be, mugs don't throw them right. Mugs do this. No, catch them. That don't count. And you get one catch anyway. But you if they don't shake, they shake them. That's like a fault. It's like in Vegas. You either got to bank them, you either got to throw them against the wall, or you got to throw them over a ramp. Different kind of tables. Just depends where you at. I've been decoding this Clippers comeback. It looks very good for them, and Giannis being injured throws my Bucks and Suns economic crash decode out the window. Okay, so pro sports just a Roman circus. It's meant to distract the sheep, all the dumb laws and shit that go on in the world. That's a good point. Minnesota been getting shamed for 17 years. They're eventually going to be scripted a lot to look very good. Well, I don't think the Saints will ever get another title. The Saints only got that title because it was a good story with Katrina. Very much like, but this is the difference because 9/11 is why they gave the Patriots their first title. 9/11 Patriots, but they don't like people didn't like Drew Brees. It wasn't believable. At least with Brady, he's the bigger dude. It's believable. Ain't nobody who get the ball and got to look on his tiptoes like this believable. You ever watch Drew Brees? Like if you got the NFL Network, watch some of them games. His head is look like he's looking straight up in the air. I mean, come on. And you notice when Drew Brees is playing, they never put their arms up. I mean, it's too scripted. That was the year when they made MLK a holiday. That was the season where the Suns' last trip to the NBA Finals. And MLK holiday and this Juneteenth holiday is all the same thing. All the same thing. Hey, Jeremy, if you was in here, I'm sorry I didn't see that. A guru at breaking down these fake. Thank you. But yeah, Jeremy, if you in here, what's happening? I'm sorry I didn't see you. Well, the Astros title, Hurricane Harvey, could be. The other thing is, remember it wasn't Sports Illustrated. It was Kids Sports Illustrated. Back in 15, they said the team that won it. What did they win it? 18, 19. They predicted it back in. I think it was Kids Sports Illustrated. It was either Kids Sports Illustrated or the baseball edition. I forget which one. But they predicted they was going to win it. They said the young team that'll win it in 1919 or 2019 or 2020, whatever year they won it. And then trying to get you to believe somebody banging on the trash can is different than is already being scripted. Get out of here. Well, that's probably, I think we did bring that up before. Maybe even Zach might have brought that up. There should never be a quarterback. Well, it just depends what you run. Don't give me a drop back quarterback under 6'2". It ain't believable. Don't give me somebody who can just drop back, can't move around. That was Drew Brees from the very beginning. Drop back, couldn't. It's not believable anymore. And it was like on my other channel, I used to always show how big dudes be rushing him, and it's like nobody's putting their hands up. The number of times he didn't get his passes batted down is unbelievable with Drew Brees. I still feel like they're going to shame Paul in the finals with the Young Hawks. I just Atlanta, the Suns ain't gonna make enough money for the league. It's just really not. What I always say, Ali said, they can't draw no gate. I mean, the Suns just can't carry it. Chris Paul can't carry a final. Ain't nobody watching the finals because of Chris Paul in it. Chris Paul, they're gonna lose in the Western Conference Finals. They just, I can't say that the Clippers are gonna win, but it's just a better story. Whoever comes out the East with the Clippers, it's gonna be the most money. It's gonna be the most money. I remember reading Sports Illustrated. Yeah, Kids Sports Illustrated. Right. Russell Wilson is decent, but Russell Wilson can move. If he see the pocket breaking down, he can move. He's fast. He has enough literal movement where he can get out of trouble. And so he gets on his first, second read, and he can move when the pocket breaks down. Last year, they had his ass breaking down because he didn't have a very good line. And this is how they shame brothers. This is how they shame them. They say they gave all that money to Russell Wilson so they couldn't go out to get linemen. The lie. You know, they try to shame you. They give you the bread, then they try to lie and say why they can't get other players. Montreal went to the final first time since '93. Phoenix can do the same. Montreal. That's right. They did. But, okay, look at it like this. Montreal, they've been closed up there. They know Tampa Bay been open. So when the game was the other night in Tampa Bay, it was packed. I don't know if even Canada letting them have fans or not. I'm not sure how they're doing that because the next game is tomorrow, but I think the game is still in Tampa Bay. So Drew B was born to watch. Be honest, his personality didn't draw enough ink or controversy. Nobody fucks with the Clippers. I just think that's the better story. That's the better story for the most money, I think. Kawhi on the way, could be. The State Farm Arena ATL CP3 make me want to lean on the Suns and Devin Booker with the Kobe shoes. Okay, I can feel that. In LA, it's all about the Lakers. But LA is LA. So it's like when you had the Angels that won in LA, they was the LA Angels, and it's the same way. And now, why you think the Chargers in LA now? The reason the Chargers is in LA. Clippers will be the 14th team to come back from 3-1 on a date with a 14, 7-2, 21. Okay, Jeremy, outstanding. Outstanding, Jeremy. Pope Francis gave Hawks the blessing, praying over them. Oh, y'all got to watch the new cut of Godfather 3. Y'all got to watch that to understand a lot of that stuff. That is so cool. Then I saw The Sopranos is doing the whole story. That should be interesting. You know, they just copying the Godfather saga, but they're going to show them Newark gangsters. And, you know, gangster movies always do well. What if it's not about ratings, but more about what will make the sports books the most money, like Atlanta winning the championship? But you've got to consider the league's interests. See, the league just now getting money from sports betting the last year or two. So it ain't really kicked in like it's going to kick in the future. When you got kiosks in every place where you can bet, or again, we can always bet on their phones. But when you're talking about advertisement, where are people most likely to advertise? In LA or Phoenix? I mean, you just got to look at from a business perspective. That's just what I feel from a business perspective. I just feel there's more money into having LA in it. It's like having the Yankees in the World Series some years. They just got to do it every so many years. I think they're going to come back too. Kiosks will be in the stadiums. Yeah, I think this is for basketball here. I misspoke. They're not here. I think they're supposed to be here in the fall and in the Target Center next winter or next. You know, it's going to be a big turnaround. It's going to be a big turnaround. They're starting the end of October. So the people that play in the Olympics, you're not going to get done until August. That's not a big turnaround. Yeah, Tiger Strong. The NBA is a joke. It is. But they're trying to make that money back, and they're trying to make the money from the advertisements. That's what it's all like. Check this out. How many Super Bowl commercials do y'all see? And I'll answer the question. How many Super Bowl commercials do you still see? You got the most expensive Super Bowl commercials. No, let me turn that around. You have the most expensive commercials of the year in the beginning of the year. And how many do you see now? And I'll tell you the answer. You see two. You see the Axe Super Bowl commercial where the dude with the big glasses and the chick comes off the bus. That was a Super Bowl commercial. And then you got the dude, the brother in the Beamer, singing with the damn car ornament. Those are two Super Bowl commercials. So you see how they put all that money in those commercials, but only two last for get a year to play or a half year. So do you see kind of how this works? All of them would like longevity. Now, some of the chip commercials, is just for that, but some of them commercials would like longevity, like those two. Those two are a hit. It's still a hit. So you have to count advertisement in it too. And who's the most likely to advertise? Just the big markets is going to make the money. It's going to make the money. And Atlanta is a bigger market. But again, like Ali said, can Atlanta carry the gate? Because some point of your finals, you're going to want the casual fan to watch. What is the story that's going to make the casual fan watch? That is the finals in Phoenix, or is the finals is the LA team involved? California, what is the biggest state? Second biggest state? Second biggest state. So, but we'll see. I've been wrong the whole season. Thank you, Annan. Canadians made finals on St. Baptiste game, and they got their ass whooped the other night. They got their ass whooped last night, 5-1. Or was it 5-2? 5-1 or 5-2? They whooped their ass. I quit watching. I went back to watching the basketball game. They was getting their ass whooped. They gave up 2 goals in the second period. No, first period. They gave up 2 goals. So, but I'll be watching it tomorrow night, watching both games. Ain't no story with the Clippers. I think Montreal's going to shame Tampa. I mean, how much longer are they going to prop up Tampa sports? I think they get another run. California's number one. That's what I thought. I thought California's bigger than Texas. Yeah. Yeah, population. Yeah, I thought they were bigger. Yeah, they're bigger. Yeah, I thought California was bigger. Thank you. I thought they were. So that matters too. And that's going to attract the casual fans. So, but I would just say optimally, the most money to be made is going to be the Clippers and Atlanta. That's just right now. It See, you have the short person with Trae Young if he's healthy by then, because as I said before, a bone bruise, they'll give you a cast. If you have a bone bruise in your foot, they will give you a cast. Now, I don't know if Young had a walking boot on, but I've known other people that get cast put on. A walking boot is a cast. Hell, when you tear your Achilles, they give you a walking boot and you can walk. Jeremy, what did you say? Clippers will win their first championship having LA three-peat Lakers, having three-peat Lakers, Clips, Lakers. Okay, that makes sense, Jeremy. Thank you for the decode. And size, Alaska's the biggest, but population, yeah, California, exactly, yeah. Everybody been saying on social media they want to see Phoenix Atlanta finals. Yeah, okay, social media. It's them basketball fans. Them ain't casual fans. Them basketball fans. Casual fans is gonna be more interested in seeing the Clippers. Just casual fans. It's just how sports go, and they want to tap into that California market. And Phoenix ain't a big market. Atlanta's a okay market. It's just Atlanta though. It ain't the whole state. So Yankees been in the World Series every 20 years since 21. Exactly. It takes them. Lakers will stay at 70 chips like the Celtics. Yeah, they keep them even. And remember, for what was it, 6 years straight? From 6 years straight, it was the Lakers, and for 6 years straight, it was the Lakers losing every year to the Celtics with Elgin Baylor and Jerry West. 6 years straight. We weren't wrong about LA 3P if Lakers win next year. That's a good point. Agree to disagree. That's what it's all about. We all try to put our spin ideas and see what we come up with. So, and I've been wrong so far, but I just look at it from a practical thing. I look at the best stories. That's kind of how I break it down. I kind of like, what are the stories that are winning right now? What are the stories that is going to catapult casual interest? And that's the thing with your finals. You want casual people that normally wouldn't watch it, but will watch it now because it is the finals. Like how many spouses will say, I won't watch it, but I will watch the finals. Like even like hockey is big with that. A lot of casual fans, they won't watch the season, but they'll watch the finals, the NHL finals, the Stanley Cup. Off topic, but did they replace Michael Jackson after '84 Pepsi commercial? Did the real Jackson live or die? Wow. That's interesting. I had pondered that a few weeks ago. I had really pondered that because it would. First of all, I think they burned him on purpose. I think they attacked him there. I don't believe that the chemicals he had in his hair, everybody else wasn't. There was them fires around everybody else. It didn't catch none of them. But I think that was an attack on him. I wonder who even did his hair. And I'm not talking about activator. I'm talking about something that would have attracted the fire even more. Like, think about it. Most people don't even do their hair, especially them greasy Jerry curl like things. Somebody done put chemicals. And I wonder if they put a chemical that would have reacted quicker to fire. When I watched all that stuff again, I'm thinking that's an attack. So I wonder, could be. Because a lot of these people can be replaced anytime. I mean, especially after what was supposedly his face, that could have been anybody. That's why Super Slide did a show and showed the burned up dude. He thought the burned up dude was the same character as that character is playing Michael Jackson. So very well could have been. Mm. Phoenix has been fun to watch. Oh, are you going to bet on preseason games? No, I usually don't bet on preseason. It's only going to be two of them, I think. Phoenix has been fun to watch, and the energy from the crowd is like it's been a long time. They've been waiting for that moment. I see that. Just watch the money consensus never favored the Clippers, which means the Clippers is playing with house money. Billie Jean video showed Michael synthetic rising to fame. That's a good point there. RMT, I'm sorry I didn't see you. Thank you, Anise. Phoenix fans love fun team to watch, but so isn't people in the Lakers. It'd be the stars. It'd be the stars sitting inside court in the Lakers too. LA is always coming. LA is always going to be a Lakers city, but if the Clippers win, they could have their own fan base. They already got it. Even losing, they already got it. Oh, let me say this while we talking about all this. So what's his name? Wiley on Speak for Itself. Boy, now how many European coaches like the Van Gundy just went to Phoenix? Did they tell you anything about Van Gundy's past? Before? No. Let me back up. When Van Gundy got the Pelican job, did they tell you about what Van Gundy did 30 years ago? Did they tell you Van Gundy had a drunk driving? Did they tell you Van Gundy beat up his wife? When Brad Stevens got his job from the college, did they do all that? That's some racist shit we just seen that they did to them two brothers. That was some very racist shit. And it's a humiliation ritual. And this is like Jason Kidd's third team. And like, it's like so much poison. And all these brothers spitting this poison. Like, I couldn't believe Wiley. I'm like, and then they had the poor Puerto Rican looking girl on ESPN all day just destroying them. That's the kind of shit got to stop. That kind of shit got to stop. It was just like, this is how much bullshit Wiley and them. Nick Cannon said some shit. And Wiley got some shit on a sports show to protect them Jewish faith people. And Nick Cannon didn't say nothing about them. Nick Cannon didn't one time say Jewish faith people come from the mountains and lived in them caves. Nick Cannon didn't say that. He just said it was some certain them people lived in the caves. Wiley's talking about, is people study this? Yeah, Wiley, I study this shit too. And I don't believe what the fuck you say because I know you an agent. You come out them Ivy League schools as agent grounds. So they got an agent in there. And their agenda today was attacking brothers. That's some fucked up shit that's got to stop. That's the kind of shit that's got to stop. Well, it's the Me Too movement, and we've got to tell what they used to be. They say shit when Van Gundy got that job for the Pelicans. All they did is say, the day before Van Gundy got the job, next day his interview. And he got or not his interview, but next day they showed him. None of this bullshit. Look how often college coaches leave, and all they do is they get introduced. Not raking them through the coals. And then you get these talking heads, as most of them agents. Most of them are agents. Wiley is definitely FBI. No. CIA. Wiley, CIA. So, the CIA been on TV since it's been TV. CIA had their hand in TV and the FBI. Now, y'all probably too young to remember. It used to be a TV show called the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover had the okay about all the scripts. G-Man. They put that shit in the movies. Who you think wrote that? To try to make them mugs look better. Give them a cool name. Call them G-Man. You got Derringer, Bonnie and Clyde got all these cool names. J. Edgar Hoover felt left out. It's like, we need a cool name. Somebody said, what about G-Man? Hey, I like that. Put it in the movie. The shit with Elliot Ness. The Untouchables. Now, I know y'all don't know that. Some shit from the 50s. Elliot Ness and the Untouchables is about the FBI. Glorifying the FBI. Shit, LL Cool J played in SWAT. Who was SWAT going after in the 80s and 90s? They turned on the magnets for Marcus Morris, begin the game. I kind of noticed that. They can make anybody look good. I agree. I am here in LA. Trust me, it's never going to be a Clipper town. Laker fans want to see the Suns win. They just hating. Lou Williams is another player they going to talk about in the coming weeks. Yeah, because he did make that move. He did make that move. But PJ and I was breaking down Reddish and Red. Michael Red played for, I think, both, but Michael Red wore 22, and now Reddish played well tonight wearing 22. So that's one of those connections. Showed the stat where a player scored 20 plus during 18 games in the playoffs. Yeah, I think I showed that. Yeah, all reached the finals. Wallace should be better known because he's from Compton, but that's how they picked him, because of that experience. And then when he went up there, they turned him into an agent. Screw J. Edgar Hoover. He screwed too many lives up. Absolutely. That's why J. Edgar Hoover, I've said this many times, J. Edgar Hoover was mad when they gave MLK the what was it called? The dude who invented dynamite, the Pulitzer Prize. You know, Pulitzer invented dynamite. Y'all know that? The Pulitzer Prize is the dude who invented dynamite. Well, nitroglycerin. How you supposed to be the most humane person and you invented nitroglycerin? Do y'all know that? Pulitzer was the motherfucker that invented nitroglycerin. But Jagger Hoover said, I betrayed my people my whole career. I've held my people back, and you didn't give me nothing. That's why he hated King, because he knew King was phony, because it was all phony. They might push PG3 to get them to get to the finals. You got to remember, Phoenix is the fastest growing city in the nation right now. I don't think it would be bad for business, like to say, like you say, fuck Phoenix. Did I say fuck Phoenix? I didn't mean to say fuck Phoenix. I'll say this, though. Who's it growing with? Homie, who's it growing with? I have to say that you got to bring that up, too. Who's making it bigger? So I don't know. It's not to say that the Clippers, CLA is big enough for both, really. The same thing where the San Diego having the Chargers and having the Rams. It's bigger. It's a city big enough for both. Remember, New York got 2 baseball teams. They used to have and 2 football teams in one city. So it's no different in LA. They're big enough for both. See they're playing Sunday. You see the commercial they showing the Yankee fans and the Met fans. The city's big enough for both. Magic mentioned that he was the say they might push. Say what you want about J. Edgar Hoover, but that man made sure the FBI carried prestige and didn't allow anyone dirty their image. But they were kind of dirty themselves and corrupt themselves. I'll say that. They were corrupt. I mean, they only were letting college educated in and Speedy, which his nickname was, but they weren't letting other gay people in the FBI, and him and Tolson was gay. I mean, that can't be denied. You can find pictures of Hoover cross-dressing that ain't photoshopped. And Tolson and Hoover and this is if you can find books on Hoover, Tolson and Hoover for almost 10 years went out to, what is it, Delaware? What's the horse track? Is it Delaware? Something Delaware out in LA? That's where him and Tolson vacationed. So that means he was compromised. He was passing. He was a melanated person passing for European. That man from Mississippi. And he was gay. So you telling me he wasn't corrupt with hiding those kind of secrets? With those kind of secrets, he's corrupt. I'd heard rap songs. I think Nas or someone rapped about him. Magic mentioned, Homie 43. It is sick out there. Only thing that makes me believe the Clippers can win is because they would come out hot last night, but I didn't expect them to actually win, and it might be a tell for the comeback. Well, I looked at Van Gundy. Van Gundy was saying nobody believed that Denver could come back. So that's what I was like. They give tells. Say the Lakers, Tigers, the Lakers are gonna make it. Ness. Elliot Ness. New York always have two sports teams, four of them in the four boroughs. There you go. There you go. Because when I played in the original Meadowlands, it was the Jets and Giants stadium. Matter of fact, it was the Jets, Giants, and the Generals when the USFL. So that was probably 83 season. 83 seasons, three teams was using that stadium because they tried to go head up to destroy the USFL. So they had three teams playing out of the Meadowlands, three football teams. They're gonna let ATL get the Mickey Mouse ring. That's funny. That's funny. That is real funny. That is real funny. But what my uncle went to Quantico. My friend that was chief of Battle Creek, Jackie went and got the Quantico training. You be a cop for so long, they let you go down there and train with the FBI. So I've known a couple people did that. Wish I could have got that training. Just went down there and did the FBI training. Shit, the FBI, I tell you a movie to watch is watch what's it called? The FBI Raids, where the dude who played Starsky, the original Starsky and Hutch, and the dude who played the father from Family Matters, where they playing them dudes who was robbing them armored cars. They was robbing armored cars, and they had to shoot out with the FBI, and these dudes getting hit with them nines going straight through them and ain't killing them. And they killed, I think, 5 FBI agents. Watch that. That was a training film we watched. But you can find this. David Soul. I can't think of the father from Family Matters. I can't think his name, but David Soul is one of the dudes. So you can just look up you can look up all David Soul's movies and you can probably find it. ATM wins, the people act like it's Freaknik again. That's funny. Yeah, his cross-dressing relationship. I heard how the mob got him in their pocket. Of course, they had pictures too. They had pictures of him, and so they had a double thing on him. I mean, that's just looking. I mean, you can find his family in Mississippi, see who he related to. You dig deep enough. You notice they want Denver to be the new Spurs. That's why Joker want to be like Tim Duncan. First team he beat in the playoffs was the Spurs. Plus both teams alike. Joker won MVP like Duncan did. Well, Duncan's is from the islands, so the islands is Americans, but I see your point, definitely. So is Dallas. Now they say they don't want the other Nazi, the tall Nazi. They want to get rid of him. Posinix, whatever his name is, they want to get rid of him. Reginald Van Johnson from the Family Matters also played in Cops. Okay. Also played in the Cop movie. Okay. But that's a cool movie to watch. They was hitting them armored cars. They was hitting them. I always thought, like, do y'all remember the bank robbery where they was check this out. Another movie they showed us, and maybe I was out of the academy by then. But the bank robbery with the dudes wearing the bulletproof suits, I always thought that was fake too. They was taking shots, and then a dude hit him in his neck. They killed one dude because one dude killed himself, and then one dude. But what I always thought it did was gave them excuse to start getting ARs. That's what it seemed like to me. They had all these people, and they out shooting them. They got automatic ARs, and they got shotguns, and they got 357s, and they just moving them motherfuckers away from them. And I mean, they moved away from them for a couple hours, and they just shooting the shit out of them. That was some cool looking shit, the way they were just shooting the shit out of them and backing their asses up. But what it did, now instead of carrying shotguns, they carry ARs. Oh, there we go. So to me, that if you ever remember that event, that was just to get them automatic weapons. That's all. So they could carry machine guns. Because up to then, they carry shotguns. It's like one of the first shootouts some dudes had. Like even SIGs always got the night sights and shit. But when you run, people can see that shit. So in a way, you kind of want to cover. If you got night sights, you kind of want to cover that shit because when you run, people can see the night sights. It's the same thing with them red dots that give you a position away. You know, they tricking everybody to get them red dots. Red dots show where you at. Yeah, it may point to where you trying to shoot, but it show where you at too. That's why I was taught with a flashlight. We held it out here. We got our gun here. We held so they'll shoot at the light, look like your arm exposed. But that's what I was taught. You had the flashlight up here. A lot of dudes on movies do this shit. People gonna shoot at the light. So we was taught to have a light away from your body. So Mavericks got 3 Nazis on the team. That's funny. That is funny. That is very funny. They do. They do too. They do. They definitely do. I do blow big stacks. Let me get some water. I don't think I want another beer. It's kind of late. But I definitely want some water. And my jug was only half full. So let me pour myself some more. Give me a second. I need to stand and fart. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Y'all never understood laser scopes always seem more for theatrics than being tactical. Yeah, Dumas. It is definitely not tactical. As I was saying, night sights ain't really either. Because people can see you. Like some of the night sights light up like with batteries. You used to have a little battery and it would light them up. But that's way too light. But even the SIG ones, like on my gun, I'll be laying in bed and at night I'll be seeing 2 eyes look at me and it'd be the damn night sights. Like if I have my gun on the counter, I'm like, or my dresser, and it's like I'll forget, and it's like 2 little beady eyes looking at me and shit, or 1 little beady eye looking at me, and it'd be the night sights. Because like I got I don't know if you can see the glow of my salt lamp. I got a salt lamp in my room, and I have it really low, but any light, them night sights light up. Man smelled through the screen. Man smelled that through the screen. Yeah, I had to let it go. 60-year-old cats, they do scratch and fart. That's just part of life. That's what my grandfather did. What's he good for? He can scratch and fart. Yeah, it's good to stretch your legs every now and then. Good to sit in here. Oh, but we've had relief. My brother was telling me in Michigan they had big floods. Yeah, Detroit had it bad. They got it pretty bad where he at. He lives not far east is Detroit. Lansing is more like in the middle of the state. So, like if you look at Michigan is like a glove, and Detroit, like Michigan is like a glove, and Detroit is like in here. And so Lansing would be here. Now where I grew up would be more southwest. And so Detroit's right here. But Detroit got a lot of, my brother said a little bit of water got in his place. So a lot of places is getting, a lot of places got a lot of rain and flooding. Here they needed it bad. We needed the rain bad. Boosack, you in here? Thank you for joining. Let's get some time, Lord. You ain't letting the psyops get to you. Good call on the Clippers and Hawks. Well, we'll see. We'll see. My other calls have been horrible. But I admit, but I tell my reasoning. But thank you for joining me. Airstrikes, Biden, psyops. Oh, definitely, definitely psyops. You know, I've said this before. When Obama first put people in Syria, you had the Department of Defense fighting the Department of Defense fighting the CIA. So you had rebels backed by the CIA fighting rebels backed by the Department of Defense. Now, if you're talking about how they play both sides, and that's in Syria. Remember, Syria not too long ago had the fake gas attack in Syria. They showed the people there wasn't nothing wrong with the people. So they've been in Syria. They've been going back and forth with those people. Remember, they just killed their general in Iraq. Trump did that. They killed the general, airstrike, and killed that general, Iraqi general. So but one thing is, Britain ain't never, even though Britain gave up Iran, they still part of Iran. They still get Iran oil. So don't believe all this that everybody hates them. Britain don't hate Iran. oh, so, well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. For people not disliking the stuff, but thank you, Anise. I appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much. So it's just, it's a lot of psyops. Like we talked about, it wants to panic you if you live in a high building like that, and that building ain't cheap. I don't think that was condos. That wasn't where people lived in the hood, was living in the hood kind of high rises like that. That was a real high rise where they was making some decent money. So, but a lot of that stuff, as I was saying, was built with dope money too. So maybe that was their way of getting back. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how they do that kind of thing. So, but it's definitely a fear program. They're already talking about locking you up again, saying more is more. They bombed Laos under Kennedy and Nixon for 15 years through the 60s, used it as their playground, and not a word was spoken in the U.S. about it. And look at when he went in Cambodia. Look at when he went in Cambodia. Because that's what I didn't understand. This is one thing they never did, is kept a full amount of troops on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. I think I'm trying to think, it was like one base near it. But just keep troops there all the time. If you know they're using it, keep troops there all the time. Make your bases near there so they can't bring down. So that just shows you they didn't care. Again, if you want to know Vietnam, the train that went to China should have been bombed. All them tracks should have been blown up. And Hamping, what do you call it? Port. The port in Hamping. You know, when they talked about, Nixon said right before they came back from the Paris peace talks, Nixon said, okay, because Nixon had bombed them back to the peace talks. Was it Operation Linebacker, or it might have been Operation Thunder, some shit. Nixon bombed the shit out of them and said, okay, the next move is we're going to mine Hamping port. And that's cutting off everything from the Russians. Because the Russians gave up the SAM missiles, surface-to-air missiles. Them Vietnamese didn't have that shit. They ain't know how to fix it if the missile systems broke down. It wasn't Vietnamese trying to fix that shit. It was Russians. That's why when America pulled out of Vietnam, look at what the soldiers were saying. Who gonna fix these boats we leaving? Ain't none of them mechanics. Who gonna work on the tanks? Who gonna work on the planes? Who's going to keep this mechanized army going? Not them. So it just shows you it was Russians all along. Russians and Chinese. And the senator from Arizona that died when they captured him, which was on purpose. And he had a chance to come home, and he said, well, and he was up for treason. Now, this is what's interesting. You look that joker up, he was up for treason. He was up for treason. And you can't even find that shit anymore. He got pardoned. Nixon pardoned him. Then they make him a senator for 1,000 years. And this man killed some people on an aircraft carrier. He started a jet on an aircraft carrier that killed about 20 people. You can look that one up. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me in a minute. But he was the senator of Arizona. He was the one that lost to Obama. That guy. That guy. I had a cousin thinking about joining special ops, but wasn't sure which one, civil affairs, Green Beret, or PsyOps. He's learning more towards Green Beret, but that doesn't want to go into law enforcement after service. Dumas, it's just like if you go to Blackwater or whatever it's called now, Blackwater hired him, folks, or whatever he's called now. He had his own army. Dude I used to know, Prince was on in Blackwater. He called it something else. And they still in Iraq. That army he owns still in Iraq. So he'll be available. One of my cousins, I was talking about him a couple of weeks ago. He was one of the first brothers to be a Green Beret. And that's why they gunned him down in the American streets. They were scared of that brother. So when he showed up at a civil rights thing, they gunned him down. Look up Walter Ward. And he was the only one that ever survived in Vietnam being overran. Every other time when it was overran, everybody got killed. Everybody. He was the only survivor of overrun. And then he's a Green Beret Special Forces, early 60s one. He wasn't home a month before they killed him. So they were scared of him. I would say look for mercenary. Mercenaries are good money. I think I told this story before. When they first went into Desert Storm, 04, it must have been the second time. Because of my police background, if I went for 6 months, it was $250,000. 6 months was $250,000 non-taxed for going over there 6 months. If you stayed a year, you got almost $700,000 or $800,000 non-taxed. So I would look at I don't know, special forces. You got to be a kind of guy. Civil affairs is good to go into too, and it's like just being a spy. That's all. You just spying in America. So it's a vast amount he could do. It's a lot you could do with that afterwards. So Green Beret is kind of cool. I would say, depending on his age, go into ROTC, come out a first lieutenant. If you're thinking about going military, it just makes sense to go in that way. Go to college 4 years, come out a first lieutenant. So that's the best way to do it. I did a quiz on city skylines. I know Atlanta, LA off top, but when it came to Phoenix and Milwaukee, my mind draws a blank that shows how unknown Phoenix and Milwaukee are compared to. I'll tell you, let me see. Like when you're driving down 94 going back west, or this is just basically saying coming into Milwaukee from 94, like when you first come into Milwaukee, like you start hitting the I guess that would be like the eastern suburbs. And then when you get like right downtown, it's kind of pretty. You see the Bush Beer, they got a casino in their skyline. Then when you go through town, you come into where the Brewers play and their state fairs right there. I mean, yeah, it's not as impressive downtown, I would say, as here. I think here is, if you compare both cities, it's bigger. I don't think Minneapolis by itself is bigger than Milwaukee. But when you consider the Twin Cities, they're considered one town, really. I know you're talking about the politician, but yeah, I did watch Die Hard today, but technically now yesterday exactly. John McCain, yeah, that's not believable. John McCain go home early but stay in captivity. Yeah. Yep. Crazy. I never knew anything about him. Yeah, John McCain. Yeah. I was watching Die Hard 2 today. Well, okay. But yeah, McCain could have came home early and he stayed. And Dick Gregory, he the one that said he sold out the way the planes was coming. And that's probably kind of believable. He helped set up where to put the SAMs to make it equal to prolong the war. And you look at when Richard Pryor plays some kind of hero, he's mildly playing a dude named Cherry. Cherry was captain maybe, and Cherry stayed over there 5 or 6 years. And Cherry was the one that they was sending all his checks to her. Was in the military. It's his wife. They were sending his checks to the wife, and the wife, he had a bookstore before he left, and the wife got to messing around and lost all his money, lost his bookstore and all his money. So Some Kind of Hero is kind of based on a true story, but his name was Cherry. His last name is Cherry. Minneapolis skyline at night, beautiful to me. Oh, I'm gonna tell you when the best time, like the reason why I like sitting behind the dude who does the movie camera behind home plate, because the city is just laid out. When you watching outdoor baseball game, the city is beautiful. The city is beautiful. Like you see the target center right in front of you when you sit, behind home plate, or you sit anywhere on the first base side. Even when you sit on the third base line, all that is in front of you. All like the target field is right there, right behind there. It's really beautiful. The downtown here is beautiful. It's a lot to do here. That's why people say this is a fly-by area, but it's a lot to do here. It really is. My uncle came here and he was like, well, he wanted to do this and that. I'm like, this shit here, that shit here. He's telling me about, like, we have they got a big spoon. That's kind of one of the things in Minneapolis. Go see the cherry in the spoon. Well, that's the art museum, and they got gardens and shit. I never knew that. And he was asking me where that shit was. I'm like, they got that shit here? I didn't even know what he was talking about. But he would have said the art museum. He's like, I knew where the art museum was, but I didn't know where any gardens was. And then I asked my ex, she's like, yeah, the art museum has the gardens and shit. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know. Milwaukee has some fine dime pieces. No. You ain't going to Milwaukee to see. Now, my cousin just moved back to Milwaukee. She's pretty. But 20 years of doing games and ugly parents and ugly children. And I would be like telling my partner, because my partner and I always work together. We would stay together. We'd do our games together. And I'm like, see what I'm saying? He's like, man, now that you mention it, we would just be looking at parents go by. It's like, these ain't very handsome people. Compared to, like, we would do, now I get it mixed up. Is it Lake Forest or Forest Lake, Illinois? We would just go a few miles into Illinois, because sometimes we work there. I forget what it's called. Because across from Kenosha is, like, you go, instead of going to Kenosha, you go back to the Illinois side. It's Forest Lake or Lake Forest, because we got one or the other here. So, but it's funny how the people changed. It really is funny, because we would be, is Lake Forest or Forest Lake? I think it's Forest Lake, Illinois. And it would be interesting how just a few miles, the people look so much different. And my partner's like, man, you're right. They're not as ugly over here. So it's just a joke. It's just a joke. But true. But if you're from that area, don't take offense. Just look in the mirror. Bring your wife and your children and look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I talking about you? If I'm not talking about you, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Dunamis. Okay. Civil affairs, because they work more with people on the civilian side, or PsyOps, because the skill sets that can be used in private sector. Green Beret, like other superstars. Exactly. Yeah. That's why. Yeah, the PsyOp is more. Again, if you're going to take that career, he go through that and come out, and he can work anywhere. He can work anywhere, and not just here in America. It'd be other people that offer you jobs too. You can go to other countries. So it's a lot of opportunities you can set yourself up with, and that's really what you want to do. The thing that I hated about the military was this: you could go in the military, and maybe it's changed, but I don't think it has. Like take for instance a military police. You could be in the military for 10 years and be a military police. Back when I was a police, none of that training it transferred, not at all. You still had to go to the police academy. So it might help you get a job, but if you're saying you don't want to go through it all over again, because that's what happens when you go to the police academy, you're starting all over again in the military. And I won't tell who, but I have a friend that was a radio operator. He did radar, airplane radar. I mean, he could do field radar. He could go out and set up in some country out in the field, set up his radar equipment, and start seeing what's around him. comes back to civil life, none of that transfers. And that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Now, I'm not saying that it's some things that a person, a military police, doesn't transfer. A lot transfers. And I think you should get some kind of connection. I remember one dude, this dude, like, I think because we had note 2s or 3s, I think before I started working there, he was the only one that had a note 1 or 2 or whatever, I forget, maybe note 3. That made him mad that I had one. And then he was sitting there talking about one day, just all the shit he would bring up. Violence, I've seen a lot of goddamn violence. You ain't got to be in the army to see violence. Again, I'm an ex-cop. But he was talking about how every time a drunk driver gets arrested, they're going to get convicted. And I was like, wait a minute. If you get a drunk driver, got a little money, and know somebody to know somebody to know somebody, they'll get out. They'll get their hands. He's like, no, every time. And I'm like, wait a minute. You saying there ain't relationships in the in this city? And there ain't people with a lot of money? They can get it reduced? And this motherfucker got mad at me. He got mad at me because I started hitting him with these facts. I'm like, military law ain't the same as civil law, as civilian law, civilian life. Court martial, you ain't really got no rights. But out here, it's politics. So you talking about politics when you get in here. So a drunk driving, depending on who it is, if he gonna get convicted or not. That's one thing I can say I like about these new baseball stadiums. You can see the city skyline, especially from the back catcher view. Oh yeah, Lorenzo. Like really, if you looked at one time, all stadiums, if you started at Tiger Stadium, it's moved a little, but not far. But on I-94, you had Tiger Stadium, you had the White Sox, you had where the Brewers play, and then when you come into Minneapolis, technically Target Field, but if you even looked at the old Mall of America Dome, the Humphrey Dome before they changed it, that's basically off of 94 too. It's on Washington, but it's basically off of 94. So you had all these stadiums technically on 94. So it's all kind of cool. It's all kind of cool. But I've never been to a Cubs game. I've been to old Chicago Stadium, but I've never been to a Cubs game. I saw the White Sox play, but never the Cubs. Okay, Reese says Lake Forest. Okay, yeah, Lake Forest. Matter of fact, one of the last times I saw Michael's boys, that's where we was at. We was at Lake Forest. Yeah, Larry was there. They had bodyguards, and Larry was driving them. Their uncle, Larry Jordan, was driving them. And that might have been, that was the last time I saw Larry. He called me when my daughter was born, but physically seeing him when them boys was probably 6'8". They was either 6'8" or slightly younger. But they was there because when I saw the bench pull up, I'm like, yeah, I wonder if the big head ass Larry in here. And sure enough, he in the gym with the nephews. He's watching the nephews. They had a bodyguard there too, though. But Larry was with them. But thank you, Reese. But yeah, it's baseball is pretty like that. And it's so laid back. That's why people say it's boring, but I love it. As I was saying before, my mother had her old apartment complex. Like it was a baseball player that stayed there. One of the pitchers stayed in where she managed, and so he was always dropping tickets off. I couldn't get nobody to go with me. You know, it was I had to go by myself. Have a couple tickets, and I'd give them to people. But I'd sit there by myself, and Wednesdays was like $1 beef hot dogs and I think $1 beers. I mean, you get these little cups, but still for $1. So I've been to Pittsburgh, but they have some women that look like they play for the Steelers at Penguin Zoo. Joke. That's kind of funny. That's funny. I've been to a lot of old stadiums. I've been to a bunch of places. Basketball arenas. Michigan is the coolest. There ain't nothing like sitting in a stadium with 100,000 people. That's a different type of energy. It really is. And it's like the black students all sit together. So the blimp would go over and look down on all the black students, and it would look like a little dot, like a dot. It would look like a dot the blip would be, and you could see it go by where all the black students sit. But it's not a bad place in that whole stadium. For 100,000 people there, it's not really a bad seat in it. It's pretty laid back. It's really quite an experience to be around 100,000 people. It really is. Now the Vikings hold, because pro stadiums tend not to be as big. The Cowboys is the one exception, because I think he can put 100,000 in that one. I think that's the only pro. But college stadiums, that's pretty common. I think Tennessee holds 80 or 90,000. Death Valley down there in South Carolina holds about 100,000. So Ohio State probably holds 80, 90,000. So college stadiums tend to be bigger than pro stadiums. And it's just a remarkable thing to see all those people at once. And remember, you're not parking, you parking somewhere away. Like Notre Dame, like when you pull into Notre Dame, you pulling in neighborhoods. And in the neighborhoods, they got signs that say no parking. Why this fucker come on? But on Saturdays, they have signs that say no parking during games. So you can't park during the games. Yes, the big house. There you go, Tiger Strong. So that's quite a thing to see. Here we go. All these fans making my sinuses act up. Probably my medication running out too. It's so late. So that it's just the energy of all that is so cool. And so it's like we about to have a thing, and I'm debating to go. It's rock and country, and the country thing, but it's just live music, and I love to be out in the air hearing live music. So I might go. It's $75 for. It's either 50 for one day or it's 75 for both days. So both days is the better deal, but it'd be like 15,000 people. And I live within where I can walk. I could like take a wagon and I could sneak in stuff because the beer is kind of expensive. So it'd be a liquor and juice day. And I have a little money to get some beer and food, but we'll be taking a bunch of stuff in there too. And take your chairs and everything and just be out in the sun with live music. And it's like a hill. It's in a kind of a slight, not really a bowl, but it's like a big hill that kind of goes off. It's kind of cool to be around all them people. Maybe I could do a live. And you could hear them singing in the background. There's a tear in my beer and I'm missing you, dear. I saw Lita Ford, though. I saw Lita Ford there. I could have been to a Cubs game. My family was going to have the family reunion in Chicago back in 2000. The men were going to the Cubs game and the women were going to an Oprah show. I was funny. I tell you a funny story is we was reffing. And we always would generally stay in Kenosha. And so some of the boys that asked me to go to the Cubs game with them, I'm kind of glad I didn't go because they went and got drunk. And then when they came back, they all started fighting. It was so funny to watch them. One dude was just really drunk and he's like, I didn't think you would disrespect me like that. He's screaming all night. And he's like, damn, man, you falling over people at the game. What was I supposed to do? You drunk falling over people. You falling down the damn stands. And he was one of the people that ran it was his cousin, his uncle, which was I got a bunch of best friends, but one of my good friends. And it embarrassed his uncle because he's screaming and stuff. Like, y'all didn't have my back. And they're like, man, Rob, come get this dude. This dude was falling down on people. He got in a fight at the stadium. They put him out. And then he was mad that they didn't leave when it was time to leave because he got put out. It was almost the end of the game, but it was like, he was so belligerent and drunk. And then he was screaming all night. And then he apologizing to everybody the next day. No, they sent his ass home. That's right. They sent Chris home. So, yeah, I've been to a White Sox game, but never to Cubs. Sinus injury, the next D Rose, depending on the severity. Have they said? Did they say what he tore yet? Because depending on what he tore, if he tore it, like they saying Trae Young with a bone bruise, that's a broken foot. That's a broken foot. If you got you turn it like that and they say it's bruised to the bone, some people call that a broken foot and will treat it the same way. Put you in a boot, boots you ain't got to really be on crutches. Helps. Didn't the Cubs go 108 years without winning the World Series? That should be illegal. Dudes, the whole lives, and their favorite team and never scripted to win it all. Yeah. not just whole lives, a whole generation. You had generations they didn't win. I wonder, even though the White Sox didn't win it until what Ozzie Guillen when they won it. So the White Sox was penalized too since that Black Sox stuff, and that Black Sox stuff wasn't nothing but the owner was being cheap, and they wanted a little extra money on the side, and so instead of the owners being able to fix it, because Ty Cobb said that from 12 until the Black Sox, he said all of them was fixed. That's what Ty Cobb said, because Ty Cobb played in a bunch of them. Like, I think Ty Cobb played in 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, something like that. And Ty Cobb was saying all of them was fixed. I think the last one Ty Cobb made it to was, so it was 19 where they threw the World Series. So I think Cobb said he played in 18. He said it was the same thing. It was fixed. And the funny thing, remember what they said about what did they say? What does Hyman Roth say? Hyman Roth, because Rothstein is the one that fixed it. And what does Roth say? They say they like baseball because one of their people fixed it, because Rothstein was a Jewish faith person. See, this is what they don't tell you about a lot of them gangsters. A lot of them Buggy Siegel, Jewish. Meyer Lansky, Jewish faith. Meyer Lansky is a Jewish faith person. So most of the gangsters they were showing you, other than Italians, but a lot of them was Jewish faith people. But they hide that. Like you watch what was it called? Where all the young dudes was playing all the gangsters, Bugsy Siegel and them. You didn't get that feeling that some of these dudes was Jewish faith. You because of the way they dress, it made you think all of them was basically Italians. And they pointed out that they're not, but most people wouldn't get it. I even think Duck Schultz is German. So I think Duck Schultz was Jewish faith too. I could be wrong. Emily, probably the league that cared the most about ratings. Same teams, same markets with all that shit every year. Look at how long the Yankees was allowed to be champions with Babe Ruth. And then they did him wrong. I wonder if the old game tape don't really exist because the rigging was more obvious and they had to wait for the Magnet Tech. Like there was other ways before that. Because it's a real thing, better teams, better shooters, calls. It's a lot of ways to rig games that go on. So again, we don't say that basket manipulation started till 69. So up to that point, I mean, guys can shoot. I'm never saying that guys can't shoot, but I'm saying people are helped. There's some help in there. There's some help. Some of them old shots like Michael Jordan making 7. Now, if you're confident, you know why you're making them. Your stroke's feeling good and you're confident. What did Michael Jordan say? It ain't me. That's what he's telling you. It ain't me. That's what that really meant. It ain't me. So, and I did a video on my old channel about all 7 of his shots, and you can see the ones that's manipulated. Mickey Cohen, the big gangster in LA. There you go. Yeah, Dunamis. Yeah, Mickey Cohen. That they blew him up in his house and he survived. Devil in a brew dress. They messing with Mickey Cohen. Your video on Michael manipulated shots went viral all over Twitter a while back. You're kidding me. I ain't never on Twitter, so somebody must have spread them. Wow. Your video on Michael manipulate shots went viral all over Twitter. Wow, homie. No one ever told me that. So somebody's account went good. Okay. I never saw that. That's the first time I'm hearing that. Wow. People shared them. Okay. People shared them. I'm not going to name the person, but it was interesting looking at a big-time ex-actor. Yeah, he's not getting the views like he was. For a person in Hollywood, his stuff was looking mighty shaky today. I like jokes and I like funny people, but man, as a show and you got all this dough, man, it was looking shaky for a while. Still, he was like, back in the day, we used to get 15,000 back in the day. Like, wow, something about your thing. That thing he did with where he blew up on his friend looked like he kind of Backfired. What the dude say? You want to catch a fade? That's bluff. That's a bluff. You don't even say when you want to jump on somebody, you just jump on them. You just fly through them and jump on them. You don't start. Yeah, yeah. Dutch Schultz' real name was Arthur. Yep, and he was Jewish faith. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They make you think all of them was Italian. That's why Italian people connect with Christopher Columbus. And now he's not like one dude was like he was born in Geneva. No, it does not say he was born in Geneva. It's two things about Christo, which is again a title, not really a real person. But anyway, one is he's from outside of Geneva. The other one he's from Portuguese. So you can find both. Even Isabella says the same thing. They were like, well, there's some talk that they celebrate him being from this town outside of Geneva, and my Isabella book tells the name. And the other one says, and then in the same paragraph, it says, however, some think he's a Jewish faith person and they have him from Portugal. And that's why Columbus was not sent by Isabella. She was sent by Jewish faith people. I've talked about this many nights. They did the movie and Magnum PI dude, what was the football player? Mark, I can't think, but he looked like they used to call him that. But in the TV show, Columbus comes back and he's like, "Where's my gold?" Well, the power was in Isabella. It wasn't in Ferdinand. It was her. She was the real power. But they didn't send them over. It was Jewish faith people because she put them mugs out. Inquisition and who was getting tortured was them. It wasn't Moors. It was them. And she's the only one. My mother gets mad, but there was another people that fought them, but Bolsheviks. That's why I'll say this. KKK was set up on communism. If you take the case of the red shirts and what they did and how the Klan really spread is they started with cells. Because what they would do is what you have to imagine is a lot of these southern states like North Carolina, people is spread apart. And so a lot of these poor working Europeans were spread apart. And so what the red shirts did is what communists do. And what the Viet Cong did is you set up small little cells. And so when it's time to do an action, each cell gets together. And so what happened is they spread it so much, which would be almost on the South North Carolina border where they were from. So when they attacked Wilmington, they took all the cells together and attacked Wilmington. Well, how did this spread throughout the South? The South did the same thing. Now, yeah, you had the crooked cops in there and the crooked judges, but it was based on these same cells. Because again, you had these people living far out. Like when we was going over the Emmett Till story, he didn't even know which farm they was on because his great uncle was sharecropping. So he had to ask because everybody's so spread out. But this goes back to the communist Klan cells. They had small little cells that worked together. And so they would take 3 little cells and go attack people or go harass people. But it wasn't always a big group. They relied more on small cells to attack people. Now, of course, the big cities had more cells, but it was a communist thing from the very beginning. And communism comes from one source. Desperate for ratings this season. We're going to see more grip glove plays. Oh, what's it called? Oh, my goodness. Did anybody, y'all watch the game? Did y'all see the little football where you pump the little football up and you put the football and the football can throw pass patterns? It's trying to copy a jig machine. Did y'all see that commercial? Because I called my friend, my best friend here. I know I got a lot of best friends, but I called my best friend here in Minneapolis because he bought his son. I convinced him to get his son a jug machine. And I said, did you see this thing? The football like this big. And it's got boys running deep patterns and stuff. It claims the thing can throw 25 yards. The ball only about this big, y'all. I'm trying to think I got something big as the ball. The ball ain't much bigger than this bag. It's a little plastic ball. Now, do y'all remember the little, you would fill the little rocket with water and then you pump it up? Remember that? You would fill the rocket with water and you put it on the firing thing and you would pump it up and then you would press the button and it would shoot in the air. It's basically this kind of thing with a little computer that tells if it wants to go sideways, it's no way I can believe that little thing could really throw 25 yards. But anybody, okay, Boo said he saw that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I called. So I forgot to call him tonight because they showed the full commercial tonight. Last night they showed the short versions. Tonight I was like, damn, they expanded the commercial. $50 though. Get a jug machine. Don't waste your money on that shit. That shit ain't gonna work like that. Truthfully, the first gangster commission was mixed ethnic group, but was run by people that faith before the Italians took over. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but the point was they was in it from the very beginning. That's the point. That is the way they made. I mean, look at New York. But they learned to put the faces. They learned to put them Italian faces as the ones to take to publicity. That's why even looking at Al Capone, you couldn't take him really seriously because he was always in front of the public. Mumu Garcia Giancano, Sam Giancano, Mumu Giancano was the same way, always in front. So you knew he wasn't really in charge because these people like not to be noticed. They like to stand back. So like Gotti, you think they really like Gotti and getting all that attention? No, he was getting attention. So they sacrificed Gotti. They sacrificed others, putting their names out there. John Castellano, Big John Castellano, that had to he puts his wife out the place, and like to get your joint up in the day. I don't know if y'all noticed, but back in the day, they would give you some stuff in your belly. They would put a pump in your belly, and when it was ready to get down, you pump your belly up like this, and it would give you a boner. You'd be like, "You ready, baby?" And you had to pump your stomach up. It's going, baby. Ah, there it is. But that's what he did. He started messing with the help. Big John started doing it to the help. And then these dudes is too stupid to have their houses sweep for FBI every day or surveillance. They let the FBI sneak in and put little speakers in there. I mean, this is how stupid they make you think the gangsters was. They ain't having people sweep the place every day. And then these dumb motherfuckers is talking on the phone. This shit is just unbelievable. Like a bow and arrow. Yeah, I remember that too, Lorenzo. They had a ball with the fins on it. I remember that. They had the ball with the fins on it. Y'all ain't never hear about that with John Castellano? And as soon as he got assassinated, the wife and the daughter put the maid out because he had put his wife and his daughter out the crib. As soon as they hit him, Gotti had him hit, they came and like, maid, you got to get up out of here. This is our stuff. Because I don't think he was divorced from his wife, but he was sleeping with the maid. This is how funny this shit is. If you get his book, there's a diagram. Get John Castellano book and telling me I'm lying. There's a diagram of the pump in the book. It's like my uncle had multiple sclerosis, and he was the first person I ever knew to have Viagra. And I was like, well, how was it? He was like, well, I can't come anymore, but my girlfriend liked it. He's like, it got it up, but she liked it. Like I was having sex, but I couldn't come. So when you pump it up like that, you can't come. It just make it come up. You can look it up. Look it up. But get his book. It's a diagram in the book. So I don't know if the person that wrote the book was his buddy or not. Well, let me read the divination. Oh, there's my damn pen. Damn. How do I get up here? Here we go. So it should be 11 cartoons. It should be 13 cartoons, 0. 13 cartoons, 13 batoons, 0 cartoons, 8 tunes, 11 uno, and 13 kin. And 13 kin is Ben, I do believe. 13 kin is Ben. And Ben this is a new easternly direction. And I tell you, I am really getting a lot of Kundalini off this directional changing my prayers up. The Kundalini is just I think I changed my lighting a little bit moving. But the Kundalini is really, really, really. There we go. Haha! Did you see that? Like his mouth barked. Did y'all catch that? Like it made the cat look like it bit. But my Kundalini, when I call out to the east, my Kundalini is really moving. And so this is a great way to really connect with energy that's moving that day. And so really how I start is I say that the ancestors and the guides, like it'll be tomorrow when I wake up and take a shower, be the ancestors and guides in the east. And I am just getting so much Kundalini back because I don't know if anybody else really talks about this. It's like I don't really teach shamanism because shamanism really teaches you kind of got to work with a demon. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not the only way that you can enter this kind of stuff. But once you start messing with directional energy, it really opens up because, like when I show the Tibetan Book of the Dead, that's part of what it shows you. It shows you, like that's where the word gatekeepers really comes from. When they talk about gatekeepers, they're talking about this is where they're talking about. They're talking about these directional gates. And I think the Tibetan Book of the Dead is one of the first that talks about the gatekeepers that you could face before. Like what do they say? In Thebes, they would say before you could go through one of the gates, you had to tell the Sphinx a riddle. You had to say the riddle to get in. And so it's not like that. It's kind of open, but there's different degrees of the pyramid, and then there's the center. And see, they only teach you that it's 4 directions. It's actually 5. The center is the direction. So I'm having a lot of success. So it's Ben, and for those of you that want the Mayan fractal, that's Ben. And Ben is considered Skywalker, Pillars of Heaven and Earth, Aspiration for Uniting Heaven and Earth, Principle of Growth of Higher Mind, or Reed. And the energy is from the east. This is a new direction, so it's a new wave you can kind of catch to get the push. It is reed, or called Atto. In this card, we see the reed as Mother Earth protecting the human being. She is dressed as a quetzal bird to represent the beauty of nature. On top, we see the reed that has been used to build a ceremonial arrow. The reed is a plant that starts its life being small and fragile, but later becomes a strong, long pole. Even though in the initial stage the reed may seem weak, the potency of the igniting fire is always there. It will always grow, become strong, eventually provide light through burning. The other source of the reed's strength comes from its flexibility. If we are too rigid, strong winds will break it. Your life can be seen as being much like the reeds. At the beginning, or even at the moment of this moment of your life, which is the beginning of what you have left. Do you hear that? At this moment of your life is the beginning of what you have left. You may not seem too strong, but your inner fire is there waiting you to release it. Your human being is just like the wood. It only gives light when it is burning. This is telling you that the best of you will only come out and illuminate the world when you are able to pull all your passion doing something you really care about. Do not forget that the fire is there within you all the time, just waiting for you to know that your passion is and to find your willingness to embrace it. But your strength becomes nothing in an instant if you are not able to nurture it and sustain with some level of flexibility. The hallmark of the reed is strength with flexibility. That's why it prevails. The reed card is inviting you to visualize the situation you are going through as facing the strength of the wind. If you are too rigid, your approach you can break, meaning no good will come of this situation. And I've been forgetting to share this, and I don't know, I get excited on things that might not excite anybody, but I have a mother tree out here. And if you noticed, a tree is always set up where it can get sun from every direction. And so it has leaves from the beginning of the day that get the golden, that's the food, it's the golden thing. And every direction. And what I caught the other night is the tree feeding off that golden energy that is the true sun. And the tree, like I have the mother tree here, it's built where winds can go through it. It can go through it. And the other thing I wanted to say is it's funny, like You can look at this and think it doesn't mean anything, but like I found a piece of milky quartz and I put it in my window. I've already I forget what you call it, but I've already put it in the sound and gave it some smells. But one time I found a rock from outside, and it wasn't this one, but I found a rock from outside, and I came here and I put the smells on it, the essential oil, and then I put it in my singing bowl. And when I grabbed the stone back up, the stone told me, said, "Wow, I didn't think you would treat me so nice." That is what the stone told me. The stone said, "Wow, I didn't think you would treat me this nice." And I was like, I was kind of caught off guard. I was like, I treat all my stones like this. But the stone gave me telepathy, and that's what it communicated to me. It said, "Wow, I didn't think you'd treat me so nice." How would a stone know what nice is? But that's what it communicated with me. And so I don't know if I passed that on. But this is how in tune you can be with nature. Like this mother tree I talk about. I look at it's like it's perfect for a big storm because the way it's grown, the winds can pass through it. And so I can go over to it. It has a place where it's healed, and I can put my hand on it, and I can start seeing all that life that goes into running this communication. Because there's a lot of communication that goes on with a tree when they wake up. It is constant communication, constant. And that's something we can lightly tap into. Again, part of my prayer is stepping into the water tree. I have a place into the water tree. And some beings did come out of the trees. I've experienced that. Where we just, like, if you can imagine a cut out of your body, that's how you went right back. It's like your family was really in a family line of a twig. It's like that's how it was kind of separated. It was like each family lived in their own one of the branches, I guess is what I was looking for. That was where all my family was from, was in all them branches. And we fit in the tree. Each night we fit in the tree. And that's where I learned about the water tree. So that's kind of how we got our substances. I got to be like Soldier Boy and Super Soak. That's funny. That's funny. So, I mean, this is how in tune we can be with it all. And it's like such attack on nature, such attack on nature, such attack on our food. And it all goes into because they can't kill us all at once. That's where their reset come from. They kill us all at once. So they figured out a way to slowly kill us. Now, but what we've shown them is they ain't going to kill everybody, even if they try to kill everybody. Even if they try to slowly kill us, it's still, we're going to prevail. The acts, like people want to say, like, why are we seeing the acts that we've seen in the last couple of years? This thing is desperate. And there's parts of this thing that are dying off. You're seeing it. All these truths coming about this stuff. You've seen it. This thing is slowly failing. See, they thought they would stop when they brought Barry in. They thought that would stop stuff and make people forget about disliking them. But this is a warring country. These are war hawks from the very beginning. This country, what? In the 200 years, let's even go back to the 400 years that they came over. See, they want to tie you into 400 years. The first Africans that came to this continent, read the other slavery. Now, I know the seer and all them said it ain't really, it was the other way around. We went over there. Americans went over there first. Again, Mu is Hathor, which is the oldest of the Kemetan gods. It's Hathor. So the first real Africans came in the 15th century off the coast of the state, but it's South America. And they were taken over by the British. The British got captured by the Spanish, and then it was 3 slaves with them that was from Africa. And that was, all of them got captured. The British captain, the survivors, was the 3 slaves and the British captain. And he was taken in as a slave by the Spanish. So that shit in Virginia they done made up, that's them. That's them. The 400 years is them. So, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm saying that's the real history. Is when they came over 400 years ago. Ain't got nothing to do with the folks that was here, all up and down here, all from coast to coast, back and forth. And saying that we didn't travel the world is stupid as hell. Saying that the only way you can make it is with them big ships. My people was chasing whales, and they didn't have them big ships, and they still chasing whales, killing whales off of the New England coast. So you didn't need them big ships. You could island hop. You could island hop. Going down to Puerto Rico and Cuba, Florida. How you think the Omen went all the way around? The Omen was on both sides, and that's another part they don't tell you. The Omen wasn't just in Veracruz; they was on both sides. They was on the Pacific side too. If I had a big map, you could see they was all up and down South America and Mexico. So they want to tell you they're in that little spot. We know they went to the Mississippi valleys. We already know, and it ain't like the sacred ball game or the continuous ball game just was spread. Just like, well, it was just common and everybody it's going around and they're all, no. This was taught to them. And I know what was his name, ABL or Brian Logan, that cat talking about how we had wars here. Why do you think we played the continuous ball game? A lot of times it would stop wars. So instead, both tribes would get together, have feast, and play the ball game, and it would avoid a war. Fishing grounds, hunting grounds. Now, not to say that they didn't war with themselves, because at times they did. And another part is the women went with the wars too, because they was the healers. You see what they did in the cowboy movies? The medicine man. It wasn't the medicine man, it was the medicine women. Because the women was the healers. So the medicine man is what they made up. That's some shit the European people made up. Since I've been sucking on these, I like it. There's a lot. Nicotine has a really weird calming effect. Well, thank you for joining me, Reese. I really appreciate you joining. That's so kind of you. Thank you for joining me. Have a pleasant day. Get some rest. Stay powered up. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. But it's just joyful. Like far as my age, when the year changed, that's when my age changed. It doesn't matter. It's when they say the numbers change. This is the thing. They say, well, he didn't make it to his birthday. Well, when the year changed, that's what they put on your thing. So if the year before or the year after, well, he just didn't quite make it to his birthday. I know Zach and them say how many days a person, how long before it added up before he died and stuff. But my point is they tell you this shit so what they can put over you when you croak. And they tell you this to make you think that you're getting older too. Like you look in that mirror. Like my father told me something when I was young. He said, I look in the mirror and I know I'm 30, but I still feel and see an 18-year-old. And back then it was hard for me to imagine, but I know what he's saying. Because inside that young person is still there. But society tells you get older. And your body tells you to. I can't dunk anymore. I ain't dunked the ball since. I'll take a dunk in the 90s. I dunked one with my finger. Ball came off and I caught it with a couple fingers and slammed it in. So, but just dunking was like 88 or 89. I had my knee scoped, and after rehab I could dunk again. And then I gained the weight back. Because when I quit playing football, I went from 175 to 250. My father came down. It's like, Dad, what happened to you? But it was just like, when you don't make it, you get frustrated. And you're like, what did I do all this for? And then some point you like, because I love it. Because I love it. And I love to teach other people it. I love to ref it. So, I found a way to still be involved, to still hang in there. And so even though my hoop dreams, my football dreams didn't work out, I still had a long career of doing both. I found a way to hustle it, to do what I loved, and to help others be successful. And that's what the continuous ball game is all about. It's parents getting together. Because you can be a teammate with somebody and you play football or basketball, you're seeing these people every week. And so there's certain type of relationships that come about. It's like there's dudes that I played little boy football with, we went to high school together. And we had only known each other before as playing little boy football. So think about if you're a parent and right now your child is playing little league ball and it's your day to bring snacks, or they playing soccer or whatever, and it's your time to bring snacks. All of you are working together. All of you are fellowshipping. All of you are supplying nutrients for the team. All of you are supporting the team when you have to take your child to practice. So it ain't like just your child involved. It's funny. I was sitting down with my daughter's mother this evening. My daughter wasn't there. Anyway, she said for the next 10 years, I'm going to be involved. My summers are going to be involved in baton, because baton is basically a summertime competition. The competitions are mostly in the summer. So the next 10 years, she pretty much is going to be involved in, we both are going to be involved in baton. Supporting her, taking her to practice. We take her in the winters, but there's really no competitions in the winters. Competitions are mostly in the summers. So that is something that we're going to both be doing. We both take her. Sometimes her mother can't take her, so I take her. So Dame Dash came up with a good play on words by saying, life is the dash. You know, when you look at a tombstone and see a year, we're born and the year we pass, the middle is the dash. There you go. There you go. What does it say? Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. What do you think they're trying to tell you? Trying to tell you. And that's magic. You know, they try to make you, unmagical. And we all have magic. That's a natural thing that exists in nature. And for a seed to come up and seek the light, it takes a type of magic. It takes a lot of things. Number one, the seed has to make it not being eaten by something. There's a lot of things that like eating seeds. And when these seeds drop, there are things know they're being dropped. So there's things that eat those seeds. And for that one seed is timing. That's what I try to teach everybody. Timing is a big part of it. Driving is nothing but timing. Like today, like I was saying, my magic, I pull to like the last light before the highway come up. It's the cop on the other side going the other direction. That's how your magic should work. That you become invisible to them. And there's stupid little shit that attracts them. There are other shit that don't. There's some things you can do that attract them. There's other things that don't really matter. As long as you do your magic, it won't attract them. So that's the biggest part to use. But like Dash goes with race. What race are you? Ain't no nationality that says race. Like I was saying with my MRI, when I go there, they got me as European. And they ain't even got European on the thing, which you see, that's the PSYOP. How you ain't going to have European on there? Well, because they want to say Irish European. No. That you all from Europe. It's a big thing. You could even say some of that African shit is Europe too, because African ain't an old word. You can look up, Tasha showed a map where it was only one little area called Africa. It was almost like a state. She showed one of them old maps, and it says Africa, and it ain't no bigger than the state. That's where that word come from. But they teach you to call a whole continent that. And they make you want to think that you from fucking the other side of Africa. Well, we were queens and kings, but when the thing came, they had to take you to Central Africa, then they shipped you to the coast. Read the book, The World History of Slavery. Read that book, and you see what Africans really are. And people get mad. A lot of people get mad when you start putting that real African shit out there. Because when you read that book and you see what they was doing to their people, you be like, damn. And we know they brought people to Liberia. And why that just started wars. All that coastal area, and they pushed them people. Remember General Taylor was American backed for a long time, corrupt. I was dating a girl from I think she was from Cameroon, I think. But she was saying as a young girl, she won the lottery to come to America. That's how she came to America. She won the lottery. She's playing the lottery, and she won the lottery for her and her daughter to come to America. But she was saying where she lived, it was like they would get caught and they'd be like, do you want a short shirt or shorts? And that meant, do you want your arm cut off or do you want your leg cut off? She said this is what she had to face when she was a little girl. Motherfuckers chasing them, shooting at them, trying to slash the people. So, like Sugar Hill try to make you think they don't like us. They're just supposedly cotton pickers. The people from Africa, and that's my brother James. My brother James that I had him, I don't know if I had him on this, but James would tell you when he started going to Europe, they was like, what is this African shit? We ain't never heard that shit. He's hearing this as he's in Africa. Like, what are you talking about? They ain't taking no people over there. This is what Africans is telling me. Like, they brought some of you people over here. And you know Columbus, they got a picture of it. Look up the picture on Pinterest. Look up the picture of Columbus when he's seeing King Ferdinand and Isabella. There's 3 or 4 people. They took 20, and I think only 4 or 5 survived. And some of them people's life story is still there. Their families are still there. That they know that they came from America, taken by Columbus and them. And then Isabella stopped it because Columbus saw that it wasn't a lot of gold. They exhausted the gold pretty quickly over there. Later, they went in the silver mines and started killing people in the silver mines, working them to death. That's really was the first money was in America was silver. And I watched a video where a person pretty much said that, follow the yellow brick road was saying, get off of silver and be on gold. And now they devalue silver and they give gold more value, but silver was more readily available in the Americas. Silver was the first mineral, the first metal of America to make Mexico rich. That's how at one point, almost 80% of the silver found in the world, especially that Asia used, was coming out of America. Jay said, I swear when I was younger, I tracked police. It's like since shit on them, it can't be humans. Absolutely. I used to get pulled over for no reason. There you go. It's the northern part of the continent today. It's called Tunisia. Okay. Matter of fact, there's 12 places in the world that's named Africa. 11 of them in America. Yeah, that's a good point, Lorenzo. So, it's the shit they made up. Most black history was written in the 1800s over in England. That's why Marcus Garvey, you can't really give him a lot of love because he was with that bullshit. Taking people off farms. That's the Harriet Tubman shit. Taking people off farms and wanting to ship their ass to a place they ain't never been. Like, what sense does that make? How an African gonna know how to farm in America? How you gonna know? How you gonna know about the 3 sisters here and how to rotate crop? How you gonna know the way the soil react? How you gonna know the seasons? People say, well, you didn't really have to know anything. You just go out there and pull out trees, guy. You're so strong. Go out there and just pull trees out of that field for us. Let us know. At the end of the day, we'll come back to see how many you pulled out. So it's just silly beyond silly, y'all. It's just silly beyond silly. So that's the things that just look it up. Just look it up. That's all. Oh, y'all check the St. Paul Saints. Remember Space Jam? Bill Murray was owning the St. Paul Saints. He's in Space Jam. He's wearing this hat. See? When he's wearing it showing that. And this is our minor league team. Last time I saw Pat Mahomes. Pat pitched. I moved here in 06. I think Pat pitched in 07 or 08. Pat was still pitching in his 40s. And I caught him. I got a paper, and the paper said that Pat was pitching against the Saints. So that was '07 or '08, and I got to talk to him afterwards. I think Pat was still the best athlete I've ever come around. Pat Mahomes Sr. Still the best athlete. Pat could hoop. I mean, I talk about my friend Tyrone Dolman. Tyrone live around here, not too far from me. And Tyrone's 6'8". Tyrone played with the Globetrotters. And Pat came in and dunked it. And like Tyrone tried to avoid it, and the ball just pow right in the face. Pat, like, we was over at Bally's when Bally's had fitness centers. It was Bally Fitness Centers. You know, Bally's has stores, but Bally's had fitness centers too. I don't know if y'all remember my Bally shoes. Remember Slick Rick talking about Bally shoes? Bally shoes used to be the shit. Bally's had stores, but they sold shoes. And but Bally's used to be rec play, or not rec place, but fitness centers. And yeah, Pat just over in we was in St. Paul, just pow, got him good, got Tyrone good. That family is good at what they do. Garvey with them Cox and them other white supremacists that died in Europe. I bet all the Mahomes are Masons. I don't know if Pat was. I don't know. I couldn't say. We hung with him, but he suffered. You know, his father committed suicide, and Pat trying to think where the bridge connects. But like we got a sign that's famous here downtown, and you go across one of the old bridges, like kind of going into, well, part almost by the U. And it's a grain belt sign, but Pat flipped his Jeep out there, and a lot of people wondered, did he try to kill himself? Because Pat's father committed suicide. So they wondered if Pat tried to commit suicide. So, I mean, he was cool, nicest guy. And as I said before, we was like teasing him. Like, man, he was like, because I brought some people in, some in-laws came in. He's like, did you like the seats? And we was sitting on the third baseline. I'm like, those was good seats, but we'd rather sit behind Kirby's wife. And the next game we went to, we sitting right behind her, sharing nachos with her. Pat was my man. Pat was all right. Every game we went to, we sit right, but she's like, oh, good to see you guys again. Who do you guys like? We want to Pat's friends. She's like, okay. And we sit there. We sat a couple times when his ex and Patty Mahomes was little. We sit with her when they were still together. That was my man, though. That's how we did with each other. I thought it was a snake wrapped around the letter I. I don't know. I don't know if he is. I couldn't say. Wouldn't doubt it. Like, I'll tell you a song that hits hard. This DJ Khaled with them Rastas. Y'all hip to that? DJ Khaled with the Rastas rapping with him too. That shit is nice. DJ Khaled whole album, whole LP is nice. Almost every song. But this one song, but I caught something in the end of it. It's called Where You Come From. I like that song. Got all the Rastas rapping. But DJ Khaled with a dude where they put the hands together. It's like one dude is on one side and him and DJ Khaled do this. And I'm like, look at this shit. And remember, Jamaica is owned by the British. The British own Jamaica. So that tells you that the Revolutionary War wasn't what it meant to be. It was meant to steal indigenous lands. They stole the lands in Canada. They pretended like we broke from them, and really we didn't. It was just all a land grab. It was just a land grab. So there's some things to look up. Look it up. Well, gosh, I guess I'm going about 3 hours. I guess I'm gonna stop now. And thank you guys for doing my birthday edition. If I'm not too, no, I don't plan on getting drunk. I'm going to drink beer because it's going to be 90 tomorrow. It's going to be hot. But I should be on tomorrow night. But if I'm not, it's because I probably had a little too much to eat and drink and fell asleep. Plus, I'm supposed to have some companies coming through. So, might be getting gifts. So if I don't come on tomorrow, I could be getting gifts. But more than likely, I probably will. So as I end, I say Mora. And Mora is really a way of thinking that the time walkers did. The time walkers did spread. That's what they said to each other. and mora. And what it means is it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland, and they knew that they had exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization that they created, that they started, would build through a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles. How to separate cycles in the Great Serpent means they knew how to go through the Milky Way. They knew how to separate cycles in the Great Serpent. I am another yourself. That's an old Mayan saying. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. That is so kind of you to say. Thank you very much, Denise. Thank you for all your work during the stream. I appreciate it. And Denise, I will send you some stones too. I got some more stones to send out Thursday. I will send you some stones too next. So thank you. Have my email. Email me in the next couple of weeks. I can get you some off. And hopefully I can get some more of these books. I've sent away my last book. I had some nice little crystal books. I end up getting some more. So yeah. And so this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I appreciate everybody who came. Thank you. Till we meet again.